Welcome to Book Club Yappening, a podcast where we discuss every and all things we've read and some of us haven't read, in a safe place where we can yap about life in general. In the description, you'll find links to our Fable, Instagram, and Discord accounts. Please follow for more yapping in different styles. For a warning, we will 100% be spoiling this book, so please pause, go read, and come back to yap. Read the trigger warnings before continuing on. Hey, welcome back to the Yappening! We have a guest
That was
today.
Yappening.
I've had a lot of coffee at this point.
Yeah,
welcome,
same.
Lindsay guest. Oh my god, discuss the book.
Yes.
What book?
All right, so the book is The September House by Carissa Orlando. This is this author's first book, or first novel ever. She holds a doctorate in clinical community psych, and she specializes in working with children and adolescents, which is very relevant to a lot of the things that are talked about in this book, where there's very much a discussion of very complicated and dysfunctional family dynamics, and she hits so many things right on the head that, you know, it's an interesting listen. Be careful if you need to be careful with it.
The audiobook is really, really good too. Even that quote that you had sent over, I could hear it in her voice.
I don't remember the quote I sent over.
Oh, well, you'll see it when I was working on the quote page the other night, so.
All right, so the book starts out with a prologue by our main character, Margaret. I am going to start off by saying that in taking my notes for this book, I began to refer to Margaret and Catherine, our two main characters, by Marge and Cat. They're just my girlies now.
Yes.
And I can't stop saying it, and I refuse to stop because they are fictional and they can't make me. So
Yeah.
Can't stop, won't stop.
That's fine.
our main character, Margaret, is in love with her new house. And she has been since she saw it in the newspaper, where it was posted for a suspiciously low amount of money.
Who died there?
You know?
Whomst indeed.
We're whomst.
Or whom's still living there?
You know, there are things
who's
that
in
live
the
this
walls?
house.
Or the basement.
Or the basement.
You don't want to go down there?
The attic.
It is a classic spooky looking Victorian with a turret. I'm going to attempt to avoid doing quotes for this book, but so much of it is so good.
Quote,
that I
hey,
can't
quote
help.
away, man.
Yeah.
Quote
And
away.
I feel like one of the big scene setting quotes that tells us a lot about the character is right as we start off. Talking about the house, she says, "I knew this place was my home. I had never really had a real home before, even as a child. My family had moved around quite a bit, bouncing from house to apartment, back to a house, and once even a little trailer for a while. It all depended on how things were going and whether or not my dad was taking his medication. The older I got, the more I found myself wishing for something permanent. A house with heavy bones where I could sink my roots into the ground and become an immovable object. Leaving the chaos of my family seemed to be a step towards this dream, although in retrospect, it might have been a touch naive to expect stability in my 20s. I didn't exactly find my house and my roots, but I found a husband, which seemed to be close enough." Just crumpling paper. Just pleasantly crumpling paper.
I love handwritten
First one to
notes.
have,
I
physical
love
notes.
handwritten notes.
Yeah, mine's always on my phone.
Yep.
Margaret's husband Hal seems to understand because he also comes from a shitty background. When they got married, they dreamt of owning a beautiful Victorian home. He's an author and she's a painter. They imagined his beautiful office and her painting in a studio and all the antique furniture they're gonna gather.
The extra person living there.
Extra persons.
Oops, spoiler.
Oh, of course, married life never proceeds in the direction you imagine. Hal has to scrape by with part-time writing and teaching classes at a community college. She begins to raise her daughter, plus add jobs like retail and admin and substituting. She tells us that she affords art supplies when she can. They rent and they don't own a home. She's still kind of transient. They are still kind of transient as a family, but it gets better when her daughter Catherine is in her late teens. Hal finally sells some books and gets royalties, and she finally starts to paint more and has pieces displayed in a local gallery, and they rent a little house, but it finally felt like they were each other's home. Or at least that is Margaret's take on that situation.
Oh my god, sounds so cute.
Chung,
It's
chung.
gonna blow up.
Yeah.
They weren't in the market for a house, but she saw it in the newspaper. They checked on that price. That price is real low. They talked to the real estate agent, and they saw that the house was 150 years old, but it hasn't been occupied since the 90s. On the home tour, they fall absolutely in love with this house. They're still in love with the house when the real estate agent tells them that she must have informed them of 2 deaths in the house that were over 100 years ago.
Just 2.
The real estate agent really tries very hard to avoid the word murder.
Unalive.
You know, oh, what?
No. No, he was just saying that
Oh,
that's
yeah.
how.
That's
No,
how
you're good.
yes, that's how
Oh.
they market it. Not
So, like,
you need to censor yourself.
algo speak.
Oh,
Oh, no, you don't
okay.
need to censor yourself. No,
No
no
one was
No
murdered
algo
in this
speak here.
house. Unalived, on the other hand.
It's 100 years ago. It's historical now.
It's fine.
They lived here and then they weren't living, and it's not because of old age.
Had an accident.
Plus, the homeowner, suffering from a psychosis, took his own life. Plus, all the other deaths in the home seemed to be natural.
Allegedly.
As they continue the tour, the real estate agent decides not to join them when they tour the basement. It feels a little weird there. Margaret gets goosebumps when she walks in the basement, but that's fine. She can make a heaven of anywhere. You know, it's gonna be her house. They see their beautiful backyard and the claw feet on the bathtub, and this is the dream they always imagine for themselves. They buy the house, and she finally has her own home. Her adult daughter is surprised by them purchasing the home because that doesn't seem like the direction she thinks Marge should be taking.
Yeah.
It was blissful, but it was only May.
That's so odd. It was blissful, but it was only May. I love that, actually.
It's such a good book. Please read it.
Yeah.
We entered to chapter 1, and Margaret is having some definite homeowner problems. The walls are bleeding again, and she's not really sure how to fix that.
Like, as in, like, blood?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
the walls are bleeding.
they bleed.
They bleed sometimes.
It's only in September,
you know.
though, so it's fine.
It's fine. The walls just, they bleed, and it's so annoying to wake up to bleeding walls.
Okay.
Marge is like the queen of chill.
Like, Marge is like, would you believe these walls bleeding again? Which is
Literally. No, absolutely.
I didn't read the audiobook, but that is what I imagine Marge to sound like, I believe.
You need to listen to the audiobook, at least just a snippet of it. It is so good.
Do you get a drywall guy or phlebotomist?
Yes.
You know, I think they have to be dual certified.
Or like a
tough scroll
crime
to
scene
find.
cleaner. Call up
And
Cora
it's
and the
every
gang.
damn day, too.
Yeah.
You don't need to. I mean, you don't need to investigate the blood. Just get it out of there. So crime scene cleaner.
Yeah, a
it's
crime
perfect.
scene cleaner would absolutely be
You
able
don't need to find out where it came from, whose it was, if it's donorable.
Don't ask questions.
Donorable. Can you
Yeah.
imagine just running a blood bank? Sorry,
Through your
anyways.
walls.
How many lives could you save?
Right.
That's not a bad idea.
Like,
It is a bad idea.
Where are you getting all this blood from? Don't ask questions. Just take it.
I got hep from your blood walls.
That's why you need
hep.
tested.
I'm gonna make a theory that there exists a joint universe between this house and some other fictional universe with vampires, and it's just like,
Yes.
it's the ethical way.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
basically like a vampire bar.
It's like a wall salt lick, but with blood.
Yes, there you go. Just a bunch of vampire horses.
I was thinking more so Willy Wonka, the lickable wallpaper.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Willy Wonka and the Vampire Factory. Sorry.
They're so good. Also, the moaning has started.
Kinky.
It's not too bad right now because it's like early September, so she can kind of sleep through it. Later in the month, it'll be like a waterfall coming down the stairs with like clots in it. It's gonna be like a long month, but Margaret's pretty confident. She can get through this. That's, in her own words, this is the way of things.
Yeah.
Margaret's not that worried. The first year in the house, Hal thinks it's a leak and tries to and really tries to keep that idea going that it's a leak, but then October hits and Hal thinks they solved it, and then the second year, Hal calls it a leak again, and then something changed the third year, and now the fourth year, Hal's missing. Hal's not there anymore.
The husband?
Yeah.
Oh.
So Margaret used to have theories about it, but she says that you have to accept things the way they are and just kind of act accordingly. You know, like sometimes the walls bleed. You kind of move on. She's a sturdy girl. She can get through things.
We love a sturdy girl.
We love a sturdy
I
girl.
want to know what happened to the husband.
I don't care.
So when she wakes up to the bloody walls, she just kind of gets on with her morning.
Yeah.
She's not going to let it stop her.
Listen, if there's a married couple and the husband suddenly goes missing, I'm sure there's a reason.
Yeah,
There is
he
a
probably
reason.
did something.
That's why I'm not asking questions. I don't care. I'm going to make assumptions. I'm going to spread rumors,
Yeah.
all positive about her.
Because we believe women.
We
And-
believe women.
And I'm going to try to find her a better man.
Yeah.
A better
think
woman,
Margaret-
if that's what she prefers.
I think Margaret just needs some time alone.
Yeah, Mark just needs to vibe.
We need to just leave Margaret alone. So
Leave
Margaret...
her with her blood.
Margaret tries to go down to her studio and paint, but like when she tries to bring up something to paint, all she can kind of visualize is like screaming and like wounded children. And
There's
like
Margaret
big,
for that.
you know. She's trying to plan like what she's gonna paint 'cause she thinks so. Despite the walls bleeding blood, Margaret is really trying to get her painting in. She knows it's gonna be harder as September goes on because she's gonna end up sleep deprived. And there's going to be a lot of screaming and wounded children running around. So this kind of planning is very important for
should be
her to
funny.
do.
Wounded children.
She can't get through this because instead of being able to visualize her like very pastoral landscape, the only thing that comes to mind is a mutilated screaming child. So she kind of gives up and goes to the kitchen in hopes that the ghost maid Frederica will make her some tea. Frederica also hates September, so she keeps stacking the furniture up in the middle of the house. And this is understandable because Frederica has experienced 100 Septembers in the house. Also, Frederica is a Victorian maid, but when you picture her, you have to remember that she has an axe wound going across her face. But she's still a very sweet lady.
We stand Frederica.
Honestly, I love Frederica. I think I stand her more than I stand Catherine.
I know.
Okay. So obviously you don't have to tell me if it comes up later. These are real things, right? Like the ghost is real, or is it all in her
Depends
head?
on what you think.
Oh shit!
It's
okay.
up to you, dear reader.
You know, I was thinking Frederica hates September. I was going to make a joke about her saying bah humbug, but then you said she's a Victorian maid ghost. I'm like, oh, well,
That's
fits
a
really
little
well.
on the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The kitchen is beautiful and old, and it never leaks blood, so it is Margaret's favorite place in her house.
Sanitized.
Yes. Margaret makes her tea while Marge does homeowner shit to ensure the basement door is still securely nailed shut. And then we meet Elias. Elias is a gaunt, pale, dark-haired ghost boy in old-timey shorts and knee-high socks. And Elias doesn't talk to her like Frederick does.
Yeah, so
Mostly, he stares and howls. And today he stands in front of her and stares her dead in the eye. He attacks her while she puts in her toast, and she dodges the bite because, like, no big deal. It's just a scratch. This isn't her first time trying to prepare a meal while dodging bloody fangs of a dead child who wished me bodily harm.
Who among us has not, honestly?
Like, honestly, like, you know, sometimes you just gotta go about your day despite the horrors.
Yes.
If there's a child, you need to expect biting. I understand it's not her child, but
She
you
didn't-
need to
it's not her
accept.
And like,
Side note: I had a child growl at me today.
good for you, girl.
You growl back.
No, I just
How
scrolled
dare
on
you.
my phone. He jumped into the hallway. Was like, rah! And I'm like,
Listen, sometimes I'm in a hallway and that's how I feel.
I mean, sometimes, yeah, I do be getting that. What I kind of love about our dear Marge is that she just has rules to kind of cope with everything, and her rule for Elias is just don't go near his teeth.
So,
my,
I was gonna get to that in my next sentence.
my
Oh, so
prediction.
sorry.
Wait, my prediction is she's also dead in a ghost. I'm gonna leave it there. That's
That
my
is an
prediction.
interesting prediction.
Okay, now I know
Yes,
my
you
correct.
You thought we were, what's the Nicole Kidman movie.
Yeah, the others. No, I did think that. And when we get to that part, I'll explain why I thought that. But I was like, this is having like hallmarks of that.
And we're sure Hal is not around anymore.
He's missing.
It's
He's
you know,
like,
the
"Find it
definition of around is interesting.
I ask because a man would be the one that ignores all the problems in the haunted house. He ignores the bleeding walls, the screaming wounded children. While the wife would be the one that says, we got to get out of here. And she is the one.
I'd say they have a complicated relationship.
In my opinion, Hal's the kind of guy who doesn't like things that are inconvenient for him.
I don't think he likes things that could tell him what to do.
Yeah. Like, he wants to be the inconvenience he sees in the world.
A sign. Like one of those wooden...
Yeah.
It's me.
A wooden home goods sign that
Yes.
says, be the inconvenience you wish to see in the
And we
world.
can maybe know...
Be the inconvenience you wished.
Yes, and we can maybe pick up on why Marge is like, just make rules and everything's fine type of... Knowing that about Hal, that is why Marge very much is just like, it's fine, we'll make rules and everything will be fine.
Okay, I'm just curious.
She's good at coping, is what we're learning.
Most
That
of
makes
the
sense.
spirits leave Hal alone, choosing Marge instead. But Elias took a really violent liking to Hal right off the bat. She understands why Hal dislikes Elias, but she just doesn't understand spending the energy on hating Elias when all he does is bite.
Yeah.
Easy solution. Just stay away from the teeth. Duh. Once this little dodging of Elias is over, Frederica lets her know that she's missed 2 calls from Catherine. Her daughter Catherine really wants to call back. She really wants to talk about her dad. And Mark really doesn't want to talk to her about her dad. Just like, nah, not too into that.
Don't ask questions.
Another one of the merry pranksters shows up, which is her name for the little mutilated ghost children that she lives with.
Pranksters.
Oh.
Well, they're merry pranksters. A little ghost girl in an old-fashioned dress with one eye kind of like drooping out. Marge has named her Angelica, and she points at the basement door, and whispers to her, and looks her in the eye and says, "He's down there."
Which eye?
Nick.
You know, cite it for me.
Fine, figure it out. Answer
I
your own
actually don't
question.
know if it is specified.
It's upside down.
He doesn't know how to read, it's fine.
I'm pretending to be stupid.
And she responds back, oop,
Pretending.
ding. She responds back to Angelica, "I'm not Nancy Drew. I tried that the first September." And Angelica's right. He is down there. And she wonders if the other ghosts will talk this year. Margaret finally gets up the courage to call her daughter back. Catherine is very upset with her, and for a pretty good reason. Catherine hasn't been able to reach her dad for weeks, and Margaret has been avoiding her calls. What is going on? Margaret has been putting off this call and was hoping to wait until October for them to have this phone call. Faking it is hard for Margaret. She's had to lie. She has been taking the phone with her and walking up the stairs and knocking on Hal's door while Catherine is on the phone. And been like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, he did you hear when he said through the door that he wasn't, he's busy right now. He can't come to the phone." Margaret's been telling Catherine that he wasn't home. A lot of like, loves you, but he can't talk right now. And Margaret decides she can't fake it anymore. Catherine asks her, "Where's Dad?" And Margaret said, "He's gone, dear." Gone? What do you mean gone? I mean, he's not here anymore. Did he leave? I'm afraid he did, dear. Jesus Christ, Mom! Why didn't you tell me? How long ago? About a month. Catherine is what the fuck shrill levels of upset. Maybe he went to a hotel? Has he been in touch with you? Have you heard from him? No, not a peep. It doesn't sound like he left. It sounds like he's missing. Do you think something happened to him? Catherine's really shocked at how okay her mom is with this. Why did he leave, Mom? Margaret says she doesn't know, but thinks he couldn't go through another September in the house. Catherine declares she's coming there. This is Margaret's nightmare with September, with all the September visitors she's having in the house right now. Margaret tries to push and says that she will file a police report. Catherine is more upset. A month has passed without you filing a police report. Kat will want her to leave the house if she finds out. Kat declares she's coming in on the 10th. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Good, you can show me how to download Tinder.
Nick.
Download Tinder?
I barely know her.
What's on Margaret's Tinder page?
You know what? I don't know.
I would take some like art decor like pictures behind with the blood behind me.
Oh, you sure would. You would
You're
honestly
like-
be living your best life.
I don't think she's like an internet goth girly. Like, I don't know
She's
if
an
that...
artist. She
No.
could paint with that shit.
That's true.
Honestly, and like I'm no shade to anybody who might hear me say this, but like Marge very much gives like my dad's sisters in that like they're just Midwestern vibes and like this is totally fine. Totally like I'm gonna be like really polite and nice and sweet. Like it's
Oh,
just that
I would let them lead me through a truly haunted forest.
it's like that wholesome like approach to it.
Yeah, they
which
make
is what makes this book so amazing.
everything feel so
I
okay
don't
when I'm
think
around them.
there's any location indicators in this book. Like, we just know that it's this house.
Yeah.
In September.
But I feel the Midwest.
Yeah, and it's like definitely out in like the country because reasons we'll find out. We just know that it's kind of out in the boonies, so this could absolutely be like Michigan or Ohio, Indiana, definitely like
I'm
one
gonna
of
put it in
those.
Indiana in my head.
So Marge starts to recount to us the haunting. The house started really slowly. First, little things start to move, and Hal and Margaret blame each other. They feel a little weird when they're walking into rooms, especially into Hal's office, and both of them avoid the basement because it feels bad in the basement. Secondly, the pranksters. They start slow too. Objects start moving, or footsteps in empty rooms, some like little movements out of the corner of their eye. And then Frederica shows up. Margaret starts hearing whispers asking her if she would like some tea. And then one morning, Margaret wakes up to a cup of hot tea on her bedside table. And she thinks, wow, I've made a friend. Because Margaret's really chill with things. Margaret, unbothered queen.
Yeah, I know.
Blood orange.
Sangria.
Not the sangria. So we kind of cut to Margaret chatting with her neighbor Edie about her troubles. Hal cannot stand her friend Edie, and Margaret likes kind of having a real life person to talk to that isn't Hal. Margaret knows that she can't stop Kat from coming, that Kat is very strong-willed like her dad, that like even if she continues to tell Kat no, Kat can outlast her.
Yeah, which I think is probably the reason she was waiting until after September to have that conversation. Like, let me just wait until things aren't weird and then we can deal with that.
I think that Margaret would absolutely have continued just out forever.
Yeah, I do think so, but like letting Kat know like 1st of October would have been ideal because then you have like an entire 12-month period where Kat can be up in your business.
I mean, I got a lot of shit going on right now. The walls are bleeding again. I wanted to put in carpets, and that was a terrible idea.
It's not a carpet house.
No.
Also, beautiful wood floors
Yeah.
repeatedly are discussed.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, oh, don't not the wood floors. And it's like,
She's got squeegee
Margaret.
every single day. Otherwise, it's going to be a hazard.
Oh, well, good thing she's got Frederica.
Queen Frederica. Honestly, I could use it.
But every time she
Me
bends, over,
Her face.
her axe wound. That's a bad term, but blood bleeds onto the floor.
You know, it happens.
She knows that if Kat comes out, she'll want her to move out of the house. But Margaret knows she can't do that. She's not doing that. she's talking to Edie, and she tells her the story of being talked into Kat by buying her a boa constrictor as a teenager, and then selling Kat's boa constrictor when Kat goes away to live with Margaret's sister as a teenager, and just the explosion.
Well, yeah.
That Kat unleashed after that. So Margaret kind of concocts with her friend Edie a damage control plan. Keep Kat on the bottom floor so she doesn't see the blood, because the blood won't be downstairs at least until the end of September. Frederica suggests sleeping pills so she can't hear the screaming at night. And Margaret is like, no, I can't do that. No.
Here's some melatonin in your ice cream.
What?
Here's some melatonin in your ice cream.
It's in the tea, I think. I think you'd put it in the tea, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And that she has to take the boards off the basement door because that looks super weird.
A little
Edie,
suspicious.
a little sussy. And Edie tells her not to do that by any means.
Right.
And that she's going to call Father Cyrus. So Edie kind of warns her. But what if she meets Master Vale? And Margaret says that she would die first before that would happen.
Yeah.
Is Master Vale hot?
Mm.
Oh, God. Okay, never
He's
mind.
a little, I would use the word skittering. Skittering
Yeah.
as a method of locomotion. Skittering.
Scuttling.
Rat-like.
For me, it was almost given
Roach-like?
like Slenderman.
Oh.
So Margaret tells us how her and Hal meet. They actually meet at a gallery opening where Margaret has a painting and Hal's this kind of freelance author. And she recounts to us how on their third date they go to see The Exorcist. And Hal thinks that movie is terrifying. And Margaret says it's sort of creepy. Like a little bit. And they have a conversation about horror movies. Margaret likes them because they shine a light on what is really scary. And she says The Exorcist is about the fear of losing a child, especially emotionally, the loss of control. Specifically, that the priest of The Exorcist chooses to take on the evil himself so that Regan can go free. That is the point of the entire movie. And then they kiss. So we learn a little bit about the media that Margaret likes.
Well, yeah.
That feels correct.
Yeah.
Well, it's good that you can, look at the meaning behind it instead of just going, ooh, that shows the devil. That movie's bad. You dislike a movie about good triumphing over evil? Okay, sure, cool.
I think I've ever seen the movie.
I do think that there's like a bit of a curse in being like incredibly understanding, though, especially when you're dealing with people who maybe aren't super great, because you can generally see why they're doing what they're doing, and then you start to make like excuses for them in your own mind of like, well, if I was going through that, I probably wouldn't handle it super great either, right? So
there is a point where they're at the library researching the events of the house, and they find out about Master Vale's family and how poorly they treated him. And she's talking to Edie about it, and she's like, with what he went through, and Edie's like, you're empathizing with him,
but hard same. Like, that's just kind of like the curse of being able to understand where people are coming from is, All
right, so she calls Father Cyrus to come to the house. Father Cyrus is a very, very, very old Catholic priest with kind of like a tremor and a walking cane. And her and Hal met Father Cyrus in their first September in the house. No one else they called believed them at the church. They went to the church to ask for help, and they got kind of the attitude, thank you for coming here, but kindly remove your crazy asses from our holy ground. Go.
Stop by our collection plate on the way out.
Like, go on, get.
Go on, get.
We do not validate parking.
It's like, we believe in God, but how dare you bring this supernatural lies to our door?
Now, if you
we only believe in Sky Daddy.
If you got any tea for us,
Sky Daddy!
join us at the confessional.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Tea.
I'm calling God Sky Daddy from now on.
And clearly Margaret has tea.
She do be tea.
She does have to look for it sometimes.
Yeah.
So Father Cyrus overhears their conversation with the other priest, and he knew about the house, and he arrives that afternoon. Now, he comes to the house for a regular exorcism, and the house is kind of frustratingly quiet, in Margaret's opinion. He can't see the blood, but he can definitely feel the darkness of the house. And once he performs the first exorcism, it feels better. And Margaret and Hal sleep really well for like 3 days. And then it comes right back. And then from then on, Father Cyrus comes about once a month. Just like a little monthly exorcism to just keep the house clean.
You know, just a little housekeeping.
Well, housekeeping.
What, Frederica, Mrs.?
Whatever,
There's only so much she can do.
She's operating with one eye.
She's doing her best, okay?
Mm-hmm. As part of the exorcism, Father Cyrus and Margaret end up at the basement door, and Margaret takes the boards off the door. And as she does, Father Cyrus' body stiffens and begins to levitate off the ground.
Cute.
As flies explode from his mouth.
Love that.
As they do.
And Margaret screams, "Cut it out!" And it breaks the spell, and he falls to the ground as the last couple of flies just...
Do I get workers' comp for that?
Questionable.
I mean, is he on the clock? Probably not.
I think this is like a little do what you love kind of moment.
Yeah, then you'll never work a day in your life.
And Father Cyrus just flees before he finishes the exorcism. He has to
He's
go.
like, shit, this shit's real.
Yeah.
I gotta go.
Yeah, well, I also love that she just scolds them into stopping.
She's the mom of the house.
That's really how you need to handle ghosts, though, is just to tell them to cut the shit.
That's how you do it.
That sure is.
You gotta
Knock it
stop
off.
this.
Well, especially when, the ghost is your punk-ass dad, fucking with your lights.
Yeah.
It's like, God damn it, stop it.
And he stops.
One day, right after our, bedroom light was flickering, and I went, Dad, knock it off, and then it immediately stopped. Yeah.
How would he have felt about that?
He would have been giggling.
Good.
Yeah.
I annoyed her.
Yes.
Just like a dad.
Yeah.
Or me.
It's like next there's just gonna be whispered puns.
Yeah. His phone went off, too, and his phone wasn't even, turned on. It just started playing Friends in Low Places, and then it stopped. We just like, that phone's not on.
Side note, this reminded me what he said. So, when you finished, the last book, I forget the bit, but the Great and Terrible Beauty, it forever haunts me that her name is whispered in the wind. Oh, sorry, side note, anyways.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So, Catherine is delayed again. So Margaret has a little bit more time to prepare. So, she does a little more home ownership. She digs up the bones of the ghost Elias's mother. She used to be really precious about it, but now she kind of just uses garbage bags to collect the bones.
She would put it in a big ass urn and truck it up to the house, but she's like, I'm too old for this shit.
She's like, this is getting the second or third time you dig up a body. It's just...
Yeah, well, plus just carrying a big ass urn, because sometimes things are just heavy, yes, but then also just awkward to hold, right? And then trying to get it up.
Trying to bring
You're not supposed to run with an urn. It's really supposed to be a staying in one place object.
Correct. Yeah, it's not mobile.
So is she going across town to the cemetery, or is this buried in the backyard?
Buried on the property.
There's it's a big ass property. It's like a country house kind of moment.
I didn't know if they had a personal cemetery or something.
Yeah, I mean, probably, especially given the Victorian type of moment, I would say potentially a full ass cemetery, but certainly on the grounds.
Yeah.
So she takes this garbage bag of bones up to Hal's office where Elias kind of hangs out. And she sings the lullaby Elias's mom would sing to him. And his mom's ghost appears and she hugs Elias. And dramatically she drops back into ash on the ground, which she knows will give her at least a week without Elias. It'll keep him cool for at least a week. And keep him away from Catherine and the biting and the whole thing. As she's packing up from this ritual, Catherine arrives, specifically while Marge is carrying a garbage bag of human remains down the stairs. And Catherine is mad about traffic and about everything. She's angry.
Yeah.
And the mom and daughter greet each other, and they notices the change in each other. There's been about 4 years of distance, Catherine is wearing heels and a power suit. Margaret's hair has gone gray. And Catherine immediately wants to attack the problem of her dad being missing and file a missing persons report.
Well, as you do.
You just got here. Have a snack. You hungry?
You want
My
some tea?
theory is he's missing in the basement. I'm gonna assume he went into the basement and never came out again.
Catherine begins.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, kids. Catherine begins ripping Hal's office apart and is big mad that the doors to the cabinets are locked. She is also pissed at the number of flies in the house. Catherine has a temper like Hal, and Margaret will kind of always give in to one of her tantrums. Catherine remembers that she's 30 and makes herself take some deep breaths to calm down from how absolutely angry she is
Me too,
about
girl.
all of this. Right? It's like sometimes.
Some grounding.
We kind of cut to Margaret and Kat eating dinner, and Kat asks her if her dad was drinking again. And Margaret is very evasive at that question. Catherine discloses to Margaret that she just broke up with her girlfriend Claire. And Margaret wonders why, but she can't really ask that. They don't have that kind of relationship. But she does wonder if it is something broken she and Hal installed in her with their relationship. Instead, they kind of reminisce until Catherine says that her girlfriend Claire broke up with her because she, referring to Catherine, was angry all of the time. Catherine confesses that she is afraid that she'll be just like her dad. Claire is dating a therapist now, who is a well-adjusted person who doesn't get mad all the time. And that's Kat's first night in the house.
Yeah. You had like a physical reaction to something. What was it?
Just the Catherine having the thought of she wonders if it's something that her parent, like, that they had instilled in her. And I'm just like, that's so wildly deep, because I feel like 90-something% of parents are like, oh, this has nothing to do with me. Surface level. Surface level reaction. Like, I'm sure obviously most breakups have something going on below the surface that may have come from the parents, but that's just...
Margaret is like chronically practical, I would say.
Yeah.
She's dealing with bloody walls. Like, she sounds like
She is aggressively... there is, like, very heavy themes around domestic violence in this book.
Yeah.
Like, we were all together for that last little paragraph. We know that there's something bad with Margaret and Hal's relationship. That she is a survivor of this, but is portrayed as, like, very strong, as having very strong survival instincts, that she doesn't perceive herself to be a victim in any way.
Yeah, she's very much like, a person can get used to anything, and it's easier to get used to things if you have rules in place to make it less difficult.
Wait,
And
kind of relate.
Yeah,
Like,
heavy.
Oh, no.
But part of the quote you gave me was, it doesn't change the fact that there's blood on the stairs to wonder why there's blood on the stairs. Just step around the blood so you don't get blood everywhere else, type of thing. Like, that's, like, legitimately, like, you can deal with blood on the stairs as long as you have rules, but, like, wondering why isn't going to change the fact that it's there. Like, it's like...
That's so fucking true, though.
Yeah. So, she's chronically practical.
So Marge monologues to us next about her rules. And she tells us that everything is survivable. And she gives us this quote about her feelings about her rules. That every situation has rules. They might be strange rules, and they might be difficult to figure out. But once they are learned, they can be followed, and everything works out. So she lists the most important rules for the house. And the most important ones are, some things aren't problems. They just seem like it. They're not actually problems. 2, you would be surprised just how many upsetting things aren't harmful in the end if you consider the definition of harm in the strictest sense. If you just change the definition of harm to something that doesn't mean what it means.
Yeah.
3, Margaret can live with the ghosts. You can live with many, many things you find deplorable, especially when there are rules. 4, some problems don't have solutions, and the rule is just to cope. There is no solution to Master Vale, and there's no solution to September. 5. The basement. Don't go in there. It must be closed and boarded up, and you have to keep the Bible pages taped to the door without any gaps.
She's a problem solver too, clearly.
Because,
Problem solved.
and I'm so heavy like that. It's like every problem I ever face is basically a Rubik's Cube. I just got to figure it out, and it's fine.
So the next morning, when Marge wakes up, Catherine's car is already gone. She's gone to file a police report. And her friend Edie shows up, and they kind of spend the morning talking to each other on the porch. Catherine returns, and she is, of course, angry. She kind of had to bully the police into letting her file a missing persons report. And she is very angry that her mom had a month to do this and didn't, and now she has to handle it. And the police will be by in a few days to talk to Margaret. Then Catherine attacks Hal's office for clues. She grabs a crowbar and she starts jimmying open cabinets. Margaret didn't know the cabinets were locked, and Catherine says he has something to hide because he never would have locked them before. So she kind of angrily is tearing through the office, dumping papers, and storms out. She returns to tell Margaret. She storms out of the office, actually, and she returns to tell Margaret that she left the kettle on, which is actually Frederica. And she returns with the crowbar, and Frederica helped find for her. She just doesn't know it. As Catherine kind of rips open these like beautiful antique cabinets, that's all Margaret can think about. She's like, my cabinets.
I would absolutely same. Like that probably wouldn't be like the forefront of my mind, but I'd be like, oh.
I already knew Hal was missing. I'm like, why are you white cabinets too?
Well, I mean,
Why
it's
the
like, okay,
cabinets
cool. Like,
too?
we can get to the bottom of it, but did you have to?
What about bolt cutters? You know, like we could do something. The locks are going to be easier to replace than the door.
But so why didn't Frederica set the bolt cutters?
You know, I don't know if Frederica knows what bolt cutters are because she's from the Victorian time.
She probably doesn't.
I was gonna suggest a lockpicking kit, but yeah, she may not know what that is either.
So Catherine very brutally rips open her beautiful cabinets, and they're just packed with empty Jack Daniels bottles. And Margaret is very shattered by this discovery because Hal's been doing so well. And Catherine is relieved but not surprised. It seems kind of like she was expecting this. They also find a book titled The Shadows in You, How to Cope with Mental Illness. And lastly, they find a cigar bottle of Hal's AA chips, tucked away with all his liquor bottles. And we move to the next day, and Frederica is beginning to stack things because September is progressing. And the police are coming by today. Officer Jones and McDouglas show up and interview Margaret with Catherine there. And we learn how Hal lost his license to DUIs. And the police ask what was going on the day Hal went missing. They were having a fight because Hal wanted to leave the house, but he was sad, not angry, when he left. We learn that Margaret thinks that her and Hal's relationship wasn't good. They fought a lot. Margaret denies that those fights ever got physical, and her daughter makes it really clear to the police that that is a lie. We learn that Hal went to AA after his DUI and got sober during Catherine's senior year of high school and stayed that way, to Margaret's knowledge, for 6 years. We also learn that Hal withdrew a large amount of money in cash around the time he went missing. And the cops are really sympathetic to Catherine, and they tell her that it can be really hard to watch your parents break up.
Okay, also, side note, the fact that the male officer is, like, just so thoroughly enamored with the house, like, it's, like, described very similarly to, like, when Hal and Margaret went into the house. I'm like, is this house, like, hypnotizing people?
I wonder.
Yeah.
Like, is it attracting, like, a spider web or something?
I don't necessarily know that was ever considered, like, spoken of. But generally speaking, the fact that the house has themes of, like, domestic violence to an extreme, I would say. Considering the fact that it's a male police officer, and we have already discussed on the podcast the statistics on them being abusive, and then Hal, what we know about Hal, it's like, does this house like immediately clock when like you're that kind of person, and then is like, hello, come live here?
Oh, does the house collect abusers?
It does seem like that. I don't know that it ever explicitly states that, but that was something I absolutely clocked.
And considering all the victims there.
There are a lot of victims. I'm trying to think. Sort of tangentially, the Hal as the author in the very spooky haunted house, the husband being an author and the wife, it almost feels like a very swapped The Shining.
Yeah.
If it had been the Shelley Duvall character that had been the one seeing the ghost.
Very much, yeah. When you said that, I was like, oh, 1000%.
Like it very much feels like how beautiful this is, that it's sort of kind of hard to capture in telling it, but it seems like the house is a little bit too big for the number of people that are in it. It's very isolated, that there's the ability for these supernatural things to have an influence on people, that the house has things. So.
Yeah.
Just too much arms.
Yeah, you were like, big clap. No, little clap.
I just smacked the mic, pretending to have weird long manly arms.
You do have long arms, not manly ones, but you do.
They are. I got a lot of noodles over here.
You sure do.
I can reach things on a lot of shelves, not to flex, but...
If you and Joe had babies, they would be like 97% arm.
This is my child, Slenderman.
It's like a noodle arm inflatable guy.
Listen.
It's a little inflatable guy.
Those top shelves can't stop us.
Expert stalker. Like, not stalker, but stalker, like, as in, like,
Oh, like
stocking
shelves.
I said
Your
it like
superpowers
stalker.
being like a really good grocery store.
Yes.
Or look in second story windows.
I mean, your eyeballs aren't on your arms. You're not from the labyrinth.
I think he's just picturing you reaching up and grabbing a windowsill and, like, hoisting.
We didn't say upper body strength. We just said length. That the longer the lever is, the harder, like, the longer your arms are in relation to your body, the harder it is to do, like, a pull-up.
Interesting.
Because that's how levers work. You just got lever noodles.
I can't do a pull-up.
That's what my claim is, that I can't, because I try, and it gets better, but it doesn't seem to happen.
Okay.
All right, back on topic. Not my Slenderman babies. The next morning, Margaret lets us know that she slept like crap, because the moaning from the basement keeps begging her to come to the basement, and that's like really annoying and makes it really hard to sleep. Catherine is all wrapped up and determined to check all of the bars in town to find signs of her dad. At the fourth bar, Marge hits the bathroom and finds a rhyme on the wall. That rhyme reads, "There once was a man named Vale, who the wee ones thought was so frail, but he had them all snowed, and he took 'em below, and one by one he made them all wail." This shocks Margaret for a variety of reasons. One is that it feels like a personal message that's meant for her. She's also surprised because she's never been able to find articles about Vale publicly being connected to any of the missing kids. As they continue driving, a song comes on the radio, and Catherine sings along. Margaret suddenly realizes that it's the same song she sang to the bones of Elias's mom. And Margaret gets really freaked out and makes Kat drop her off at home, and Kat continues without her. When Kat returns, she goes to take a shower, but calls down that she lost hot water. Margaret investigates and realizes that the kitchen sink is all stopped up and that blood is flowing from the faucets. She turns off the sink and goes to pull the stopper and discovers it's not the stopper, it's just like a hunk of flesh that's in the sink, and that's like really annoying to her. She's
Touching something icky in a sink drain is like really upsetting.
It's an actual horror of everyday life.
Yeah. I mean, as someone who did a lot of dishes at Chipotle, like reaching in and then just pulling out like a hunk of raw chicken, and it's like, Yeah, okay.
I actually went to just like raw onions that have become wet and therefore have just been rendered
Yeah.
into horror.
Yeah, it's like clear but also slimy.
Makes me want to vomit.
Yeah, like the texture.
Yeah.
Actually, we have to move on because this is actually more terrifying than the book.
But also pause. So the reason I personally thought that Margaret was perhaps deceased is as they're going out and she's seeing like the poems and hearing the song and shit out in the wild, she also keeps saying that it feels like the house is calling her home, like that she's noticing the more time she spends outside the house, the more she feels like she needs to be back at the house. So I know in a lot of media with like ghosts and stuff, a lot of times there's like a slingshot reaction of like you have to stay in your
Okay, I
lane.
hadn't thought about that.
So I personally was like, oh, is she dead? And like, so this is like that part of it is like, you're dead, you died at the house, you have to be at the house at all times. So when you leave, the house calls you back. And I thought that that's where it was going with that.
I know that there's been a portion of the book where she talks about the fact of Hal being really controlling, that she needs to text him once that she's going to the grocery store, that she needs to tell him the day before she's going, that she needs to text him 3 times while she's there, that she needs to make sure she checks out with a female, not a male cashier, that she shouldn't talk to any men while she's at the grocery store, that she needs to text that she's... Like, I assumed that was just part of her having been isolated as a course of their relationship, that she's perhaps a little agoraphobic about leaving the house.
Yeah, and that's definitely fair. But no, I just assumed it was the ghosty. Well, especially because we are back to the thing of like, is this house attracting abusers with an intent? Because it does seem like perhaps violent men just become progressively more violent. So I was like, is that why he's missing? Because he's killed you and he's like fucked off out of town.
Okay.
Or he killed you and then the house claimed him or whatever, you know, that type of thing. So that's why I was like, okay, what is...
I that never even occurred to me, and I'm like,
yeah. You seem to approach books from like a more literary standpoint, and I approach books almost like from a detective standpoint of like, where is this going? How can I unpack this like twist before it happens type of thing? So I'm looking for like signs of foreshadowing, but like so that I can figure out where we're headed. Whereas I know you tend to grasp a lot of more so literary like concepts.
Because when I heard that, I was like, oh, she's saying the house is calling to her, but the house represents a lot of things. Yeah. The real ghosts is the trauma we got along the way.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, but what does this mean?
Yeah.
What's the law? But what does it mean? The law mean? Okay. Also raccoon fingers.
Still raccoon.
Margaret pushes up her sleeves and hurries to clean up all the blood in the kitchen. And Catherine walks in the kitchen and is shocked to see her mom's arms when she has her sleeves pulled up. She doesn't seem to be reacting to the blood, but to the white scars that have been left by Elias's bites. Catherine asks her if her dad did this to her, if these scars are a result of something Hal was hurting her. Margaret denies this to her. They're from Elias, from Margaret's perspective. And with the history that has taken place between Margaret and Hal, Catherine doesn't believe her. Margaret lies and tells her they're from gardening, and Catherine snaps. Catherine is mad, and this is too delusional, and it's too much. She tells her mom that she's tired of her lying about how she got hurt. Catherine is angry her mom lied to the police about the violence of those fights, that her mom forgot to mention having to send Catherine away to live with her aunt for a while so that the state didn't take her away when she was a teenager. She's angry her mom is minimizing the situation. Margaret asserts to her daughter, I protected you. Mm-hmm. Catherine says, you couldn't even protect yourself. How was he the one with the strength to leave in the end? And she storms out of the house.
Yeah. Also, the scene where we find out why Catherine had to leave was so fucking heartbreaking. Like, that was just
brutal.
Made me, like, ill, but, like, emotionally. Like,
It's like, but that's what I want. I want a book to hurt me. I'm like,
Yeah.
that is so good.
Make me feel something.
Anything to feel something. Anything.
Yeah, 5-star books for me. Like, did you make me feel a real, genuine emotion? Like, so was I enraged? Was I in tears? Like,
I guess I'm like that with Chinese dramas, because I'm like, if I'm not crying like halfway through this
What's the
drama,
point?
it's the fucking point. Why am I not sobbing?
My current favorite video game right now is Spiritfarer, which is a book that is trying to just hurt you. You're a little anthro. You're going to different islands on this boat, and you're picking people up, but the people turn into animal representations of themselves.
Wait, that sounds so cool. What's it called?
Spiritfarer. What is the name of the guy in the boat that takes people to the underworld?
oh.
Sharon.
Charon?
It's really pronounced like it's Charon.
Charon?
Yeah.
Charon leaves his job and gives it to her, the main character. And these are all of the people in her life that she's ferrying, and she has to get them to something. And it is my favorite one, and I'm not playing it because my frog father would have to go to the great beyond, and I'm like, no! Not my frog
Not
father!
my
frog father!
This is so cute.
You make him all his favorite snacks.
It's a 10 on 10 on Steam and a 4.7 on PlayStation.
I'm playing it on the Switch. I know there's a
on
VR
the
version,
Switch?
but I can't be hurt that way. I can't be hurt in virtual reality like that. I need at least the screen to keep me safe.
It like that book, and you're like, I feel like I'm about to hit a really cringe scene, and then you just never finish the book.
Oh, that's
Diavola?
Diavola. That I know that there's going to be a scene where it replaces her work presentation with like one of the like awful semi-crazy drawings, and they've just said that someone has had to talk with her about the fact that she is so haunted she has stopped bathing. And also she's come to work and she has no clean clothes left because being haunted by a Victorian spirit makes it really hard to get your housework done unless you're Margaret.
Yeah. That's so true.
Margaret can cope with things.
She's got the hookup with the Victorian ghosts.
Right?
She got a system.
She does have a system. So do I.
And I can just feel that there's going to be secondhand embarrassment. And so I completely just stopped reading the book.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I'll get back to it in a couple days. Nope, returned it.
Yeah. I did have a book where I did have to put it down because it was making me feel entirely too much. I did go back to it, though. But I was, like, having really bad, like, depression and anxiety just from life. And then that book was actively making that worse.
And sometimes a book that's too close makes it better, and sometimes it makes it worse.
Yeah, and this one wasn't even like necessarily relevant to me. It's part of the perspective is this woman when she was a teenager and shit that she was going through. And as a teenager, she's very heavy on a self-destructive train, and like as a teenager who also was heavy on a self-destructive train, I'm like, I completely understand every single move you're making and why you're making it, and I hate that.
You're like, I fully out there that like grew up in an alcoholic dysfunctional household, and Catherine is a balm to my soul.
Yeah.
Team Catherine. I love Team Catherine, and I know that you were talking about like reviews you read where other people didn't like her.
Yeah. I didn't like her. I mean,
it's gonna be like the Nestas, though.
Yeah, I didn't like Catherine, but I get why she is the way that she is, but I definitely, and I think part of my dislike of Catherine is that I connected so heavily with Marge as someone who had, like, obviously not abusive in that way, but, like, an incredibly toxic relationship. Like, I understand the, like, making rules to keep yourself safe, and like if I do this you'll react this way, so let me try to do it a different way. Like, I connected heavily with that, so I think that because I connected so heavy with Margaret, it made it difficult for me to like Catherine, because it's like, I know why Margaret is the way that she is, quit being so mean to her. But like, I, as like a child, from that perspective, I understand why Catherine is the way that she is too. But
I love this book when I read it, because there is like a level of like, oh, I've been away from my dysfunctional family, I'll go see them, maybe it'll be different this time. And then by the end you're just mad and you're like, are you getting dementia, or have you just always been this fucked up this whole time? Like, is it I'm just not used to this level of like y'all don't make sense, or there's something pop up there? Like, what the fuck's going on?
So generally speaking, your parents would be of an age where like lead poisoning would be a thing, and like I no shade to that at all, because my parents are the same age, but no, there's been this phenomenon where millennials' parents are especially like swinging MAGA, but they're getting so horrifically like mean and weird, and there's all of these adult children who are like, my parents were never like this, like what is happening? So there's a theory that a lot of it is lead poisoning has just degraded their brain to the point where they are just this person now, like, so that's kind of...
There's also that the area of the Midwest we live in is being referred to as the Parkinson's belt.
Oh, hate
due
that.
to a lot of the industrial manufacturing that happening, and that was in the soil and then was in the food, and then you went outside and you played in the
data center.
Back in our day, we didn't come back until the streetlights were on. It's like you ate dirt with the stuff in it, didn't you?
Yeah. Also, I remember my mom when I was like a kid at one point, making a comment of like back in my day, and I was like, yeah, but like all of those adults are the people snatching the kids now. Like that's your generation. You're the reasons we're not allowed to be outside anymore. And she's like, yeah, we had too much freedom, I think.
I'm gonna put it out there that stuff was just, it was happening, you just weren't talking about it.
Oh yeah, no, the mass amount of media that we have today, media coverage, we can cover it now.
Because news spreads so widely. But yeah, it's when we were kids, our parents were protecting us from their generation, like their people,
they, they had the whole stranger danger thing, and strangers are not the ones that you need to watch out for.
Yeah, exactly. But just that's kind of one of those I love.
I remember...
It's not lead poisoning. They're just like that.
I mean, and I'm like, I don't know your parents, so I don't know. But I do know that is a general phenomenon that, especially with the weird political, like, swing that, like, happened. I know there's a lot of people that it's like, my parent just turned into a completely different person.
I can just see it being like, you can't blame me. It's the lead poisoning.
Well, yeah. Also, the, like, boomer lead stare is, like, a thing.
What?
Yeah.
I know the Gen Z stare where you're like, oh, you were raised by a screen. Okay.
But boomers, and so that's another thing is, basically people are saying that like Gen Z and boomers are so similar, but like also in like different ways. But like lead stare and then like Gen Z stare, basically same thing, different font.
Is more it like the dissociative stare like me and Amanda have, where we just go...
The sense of like entitlement and that kind of thing.
And that too, which you and I were just talking about as well. Yeah. Just wanting the world to like cater to them type of thing.
Okay.
But yeah, just...
Yeah, I remember seeing our grandparents had asbestos, our parents had lead, and we got microplastics.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And social media.
And social media,
And Jessy pointed out, it's going to be the data centers. What's going to happen?
Oh, yeah, because the last time I heard someone reporting on the data centers, they were leaking chemicals into the water, and it was coming out of their faucets.
That's why people don't want... Well, I mean, one of the many reasons people don't want one in Michigan, just because of the Great Lakes.
Unfortunately, we just live in a society where we don't... We're finally seeing, like, truly seeing how much of a say we truly don't have.
But, like, also, part of the data center thing is DTE... sign something where if by X year they weren't giving X amount of power, they had to become more sustainable type of thing. But if they were putting out way more power, then they didn't have to become sustainable, and that data center is going to push them into the threshold where they don't have to become more sustainable. So there's like DTE's like pushing for this to be here so that they don't have to change their ways.
There is a data scientist that I watch on YouTube, and he's like a big sound guy. And he did like a 2-hour thing on the sounds that are created by a data center and the infrasound that is created by them in the specific oscillation, so it's below hearing. And he actually ran an experiment on the infrasound, and they've run experiments on infrasound before, and it makes people nauseous. It makes people dizzy. It can sometimes... There have been hauntings that have been debunked, and they're like, there's something wrong with the way this house resonates. It amplifies infrasound and makes people feel like there is a presence, like a bad presence in the room with them. That it is like a whole level of noise pollution that tends to expand out from
That would
the
drive me
neighborhood.
crazy because I feel like I'm really sensitive to sound as
Me
it is.
too. Yeah.
So
I can send it to you.
I do it. I'm like consuming knowledge. Of
Okay,
all this
maybe
stuff.
not. Maybe don't do that. Maybe like one weekend, just like watch The Last Unicorn. I'm like, fine. Listen,
That's
it's
so sad.
you know, that's also sad, but it's like a different sad.
Also, I have this here because it reminds me of The Last Unicorn. It's my dad's. I like last time we were at my mom's, I stole it off her wall, and I'm like, this is mine now. But it's because it reminds me of The Last Unicorn, and that was like one of the things that he had shown me. But it still makes me feel sad.
Yeah, but like it lets you feel fictional sad, and fictional sad is way easier to deal with than IRL
It's
sad.
enjoyable.
Sometimes, yeah.
Like, yeah, just like fictional sad, get all the real life sad out, and then you can go back to the real life sad. It's like a coping
I
mechanism.
do be like that.
I don't remember where.
I'm so
Okay, so the
sorry.
last thing I remember was that Kat stormed out of the house because
Yes.
she's mad that her mom is basically in denial and
Yes.
doesn't notice the
And-
blood, which I'm beginning to assume girls having a psychological. Mark is having a psychological
Yeah,
break.
so Marge just pulled a chunk of meat out of the sink, is where we left off, because then I started talking about chicken.
Oh yeah, and then
And the
onions.
whirs of raw onions in a sink.
Yeah, and then we
okay, we're back on track.
transition from there.
ADHD train moving on.
Yeah.
So Margaret starts to monologue to us as the audience, and she recounts to us how Hal's violence escalated. It took a while for it to happen. If it had happened right away, she would have left. It started with words while she was pregnant with Kat, that she would never get a real job, that she would end up crazy and incoherent like her father. The first time he was physical, he grabbed her by the arm and swung her around to face him. It left bruises, but it wasn't anything she thought of. And then suddenly it was common, shoving her, pushing her down, but with a loose grip she could escape. Until one day she couldn't escape his grip. Open hands until they weren't, marks that could be covered by clothes until they couldn't. He would apologize, but it grew tiresome. Someone needed to compromise, and Margaret considers that her strongest asset. She compromised because Hal hates her sister Nicole. So she stopped talking to her sister, or that's not her sister's name. She compromised because Hal hates her sister Noelle.
There we go.
So she stops talking to her sister Noelle. She made it a rule.
Yeah. 2 truths and a lie.
2 truths and a lie. It's not only me.
I was looking directly at the name spelled correctly twice, and she became Nicole. Catherine didn't come home last night, and Margaret confers with Edie about it, which is good because the house is basically screaming. Margaret, you can't hide from us. Margaret, we'll get you. She tells Edie about the fight with Kat. Margaret is happy she has Edie. She spent too much time friendless before her because of the rules. Hal barely interacted with Edie. Catherine rolls in, looking like she was up all night, perhaps with the flirty bartender from one of the bars they visited yesterday. Margaret isn't sure what she will do tonight about the screaming, and Edie suggests drugging Catherine so she doesn't hear it. After taking a shower, Catherine comes downstairs and apologizes to Margaret. Catherine says it will never happen again, and Margaret thinks about how much her daughter looks just like Hal. Catherine decides they're going to look for Hal at hotels. At the first cheap motel, the front desk clerk says he doesn't know he just started here. He looks Margaret in the eyes and says, "He's down there," which confuses her. But conveniently, he's referring to his coworker being down there in the next town. And Catherine is very aware her mom is acting very strangely. As they drive to the next hotel, Margaret disassociates a little. At the next motel, the Paradise Motel, they meet 2 workers named Julian and Angelica, which are conveniently the names of 2 of the ghost children.
The pranksters.
Yeah. Margaret experiences one worker saying, "He's down there," again out of context in conversation, and then sees Angelica mouth it silently towards her. Over the speakers in the hotel office, Margaret hears the lullaby she would sing to Elias's mom. Catherine thanks the employees for their time. The employee says no problem and says if they need anything, check back. Just ask for him. His name is Ted Vale. Margaret sees a customer of the motel in the parking lot who looks her directly in the eye and says, "He's down there." Kat stops to pump gas, and Margaret goes into the gas station and buys some sleeping pills. When they get home, Margaret talks to Edie on the porch again about the strange events. She walks back into Kat standing in front of the basement door, contemplating the Bible pages that Father Cyrus had taped there. Catherine is sniffing. She sprints in front of Catherine and slams the door, shuts it, and yells at her not to go down there. She tells her it isn't safe. There's black mold. There's black mold down there, and that is what the smell is. And quickly pushes her into the living room, where Frederica has stacked all of the couch cushions into a tower, where she watches Catherine react to that. That night, she puts sleeping pills into Catherine's tea. And once Catherine is asleep, the whole house begins to scream. Next, Margaret recounts to us how 4 Septembers ago, she saw Master Vale. She was awake from the screaming and the dripping blood, while Hal snored. She goes down to the kitchen and sees the basement door open, with Master Vale standing in front of it. He seems to flicker, impossibly tall and skinny, with arms that are too long for his body. Pale, with tangled white hair, his body seems to be covered in open, bloody sores. She freezes, and he turns towards her. She takes a step back. His skinny limbs skitter across the floor at her as he comes at her. She scrambles backwards to the outside door. She gets outside and sits out there until the sun comes up, and Edie appears and asks her what is wrong, and Margaret begins to cry. Edie listens to her and tells her to let it all out. This is the first time Margaret's had a friend in years. Edie tells her no one deserves to go through this alone, and Margaret tells her about the ghosts. Margaret doesn't think the ghosts want to hurt her, even Elias, but the man in the basement wants to hurt her. Edie asks her if she will move out. Margaret tells her they will have to take her out in handcuffs.
And I think she killed the husband. I think he's in the basement dead and decomposing.
That is a very interesting thought. After the encounter with Master Vale, Margaret goes to the library to investigate. We love a research queen.
Mm-hmm.
She finds out that the house was built in 1882 by a Dr. George Vale and his wife Penelope. They are socialites, and Margaret doesn't think the man she saw was George based on a photo she finds in the newspaper. Some articles mention 2 Vale children, Vernon and Violet, but some mention 3. The family dies within a month of each other in the same September. George of a heart attack, Penelope of a seizure, Vernon mysteriously collapses, and Violet wanders into the woods and dies of exposure. However, Theodore Vale, the 3rd child, lives, but he has no records. He never seems to have been enrolled in school. He doesn't seem to exist until after their death. He inherits the house. Margaret finds that Penelope had Theo before she was married to George. She said that he was the child of her prior husband who died, but after they're married, George finds out she was never married before and that Theodore was born out of wedlock. George Vale is an abusive dick to all of his kids, but especially Theo once he finds out that he was lied to about his parentage.
This would have been like a disappointment room type of situation. The like secret attic rooms that a lot of Victorian houses have, especially just given that time period.
Where it's like there's going to be considered character attributes to the idea that someone is a bastard.
Yeah.
Do people use that word anymore?
Not correctly.
I mean, I'm sure that it's having a resurgence for that correct usage, given how
the world
we're swinging A little backwards.
You know? George veils an abusive dick to all his kids, but especially Theo once he finds out his parentage. Margaret finds a picture of Theo and immediately knows that it's Theodore that she saw. After the death of the rest of the family, there are rumors that Theo is involved with witchcraft. And across the years, 6 local children go missing, each in September. They share the names that Margaret has individually given to the ghost children without the prior knowledge. Later, Theodore is found dead and alone by a debt collector with his body mysteriously covered in sores. In the 1910s, a husband and wife moved in. The husband killed Frederica, his wife, and himself. In the 40s, Elias and his widowed mother move in and mysteriously go missing. And then she finds out that Master Vale died on September 30th. Dun, dun, dun. Well, Kat is gone. Everything in the house annoys Margaret. Every ghost in the house is on its bullshit. Plus, the black hole in the guest room is just starting to pulse for some reason. There's also one ghost that lives in the fireplace that screams, and she starts being on her bullshit, like they've lit a fire. Margaret knows the rules. She's not doing that. When Kat comes home, Catherine takes a phone call from the Value Lodge where all of Hal's stuff was left. Hal booked a room for 3 nights, but Bill at the hotel didn't see him again after the first day. Hal never checked out and left all of his things in alcohol bottles. Catherine has the things he left. As they sort through the box, Catherine confesses to Mom that she shouldn't have left to live with Margaret's sister Noelle, that she shouldn't have left Margaret alone with him. Kat had tried to refuse at the time, telling Margaret she needs to stay. Margaret thinks that she knew it would get worse, but that didn't mean she wasn't safe. It certainly didn't mean Catherine had to protect her. Kat couldn't have stayed, in Margaret's words. Nobody should have been permitted to endure that, honestly, not unless they knew how to survive, the way Margaret does. Catherine asks her if she'll take Hal back if they find him. Margaret says, of course, why wouldn't I? Catherine says Hal is giving her a chance to leave, and that Margaret should have come with her to Noelle's back then. Margaret remembers Catherine telling her back then, why didn't you leave? And Margaret sees Hal on the day he left, asking her, why in God's name do you want to stay in this house? Margaret tells us, it wasn't horrible every single day. So few things ever are. And when it wasn't horrible, it was almost lovely. Margaret knew how to survive here, and I always had a sense that if I just survived long enough, if I just played by the rules well enough, I could make it a perfect home once and for all. I just needed to work a little harder. Margaret tells Kat people can change, that Kat changed and she's less angry and that she can see it in her. Catherine says that changing is so hard and barely working. She thought everyone's families but hers was happy growing up. Then she got older and learned it was everywhere. Catherine tells her mom that the fairy tale she's concocted isn't real, and Margaret doesn't understand. Catherine tells her that stories like this one don't end well. Someone always ends up dead. Margaret says, all stories end with someone dead. Catherine asks her if when he comes back, you'll stay and wait for him to beat you to death. Catherine tells her, no one deserves to live like this. Margaret remembers Hal telling her the same as he gets in the cab to leave. Margaret pops. She tells her daughter that no one deserves to live like this. But that doesn't matter. It doesn't change reality. Catherine reminds her of what she said about how people can change.
I was like, I saw the end of the notes. I'm like, there's no fucking way. There's no fucking way.
End novel. The book's over, guys. We gotta go home.
Yeah.
They resolve the emotional conflict, and there's nothing else you get to know. Actually, they're totally fine now. Everyone's good.
The end.
Margaret is shocked that Catherine thinks she isn't capable of change, that she needs to be reminded about change. She says, She changed all the time, little by little, over the years until I was unrecognizable, but to me was just who I was. I should be a stranger to myself, but it didn't bother me at all. When Catherine points to the scars on her arms, Margaret is honest and says it was Elias, which is very confusing to Catherine. Margaret monologues to us again about her rules, how everything is survival. The rules to survive Hal are: don't disagree, don't talk to men, don't talk to Noelle, and the most important rule would be don't mention leaving. However, sometimes the rules don't work when Hal drinks. Margaret tells us the following rules weren't difficult because there were good times, but then the cycle would continue. She tells us that neither the house nor Hal want her to leave. She has no plans to leave either. This is her house, and she is excellent at following the rules. Margaret monologues to us again. The 3rd September in the house, Hal was affected. He was disoriented, tired, and he was hearing things. He asked Margaret what Master Vale looked like, and they agree on his appearance. He asks if Master Vale sounds wrong when he talks to her. Master Vale laughs at Hal and tells Hal to get out. But Margaret can't agree because Master Vale has never spoken to her. Which is that thing about the house perhaps drawing in or speaking or escalating abusers that we kind of talked about already.
Yeah.
So is, just to clarify, so Vale, the master of the house, is that Theodore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure. So it's the kid that was abused?
Yes.
Okay.
The next morning, Kat is hung over from the sleeping pills that Margaret drugged her with last night. She is also confused as to why the medicine cabinet is full of spoons. Frederica is getting more upset as the month goes by. So she's cleaning, but not helpfully.
Yeah.
Margaret is attacked by Elias. As he bites her, Catherine walks into the room, seeing the wound and the blood, but not Elias. Margaret asks, "Do you not see him?" And Catherine is alarmed. Catherine thinks that Mary has committed some type of self-harm and is talking to people that aren't there. When Catherine leads Mary into the bathroom to wash the wound, Margaret finds that Frederica has moved every single knife in the house into the bathroom sink. Margaret continues to tell us how Hal wants to deal with the haunting. Margaret tells us that Hal wants to fight back against Master Vale, something like when he and Margaret dug up the bones of Elias's mother, which Hal was involved with. Eventually, Hal discovers the paddle George Vale used on his children, but especially Theodore, under the floorboards in the attic. Together, Margaret and Hal go down in the basement to fight Master Vale. They bring the paddle with them. The basement feels bad, and the lights flicker. But they continued into the brick-walled room at the end of the basement. And suddenly, they are snapped to the past. Angelica, the ghost child, is tied to the table, and they watch the apparitions as Master Vale kills her with a hammer and drinks her blood. As Master Vale rises, Hal confronts him and tells Vale to get out, as Master Vale grins in response. Hal shouts, "Go away right now, or I will beat you like your father did."
Damn.
In a rage, Vale slaps the paddle from his hand, and both Mary and Hal haul ass up the stairs. Hal is behind Mary on the stairs when Vale attacks him again, biting Hal's leg. Margaret rescues him by bringing the paddle down on Vale's head, and Vale bounces down the stairs. As they reach the door at the top of the stairs, it slams shut, and Vale continues to skitter his weird long limbs up them stairs. Suddenly, Elias appears from below and bites Master Vale's hand. Elias saves them, because at this action, the door opens and they're able to escape upstairs. Days later, Hal thanks Elias for saving them because he can see him. And Elias bites him.
Yeah.
It's how Elias communicates his feelings.
Same, honestly.
We bite people. How we feel.
Yeah.
We're getting deep.
You also keep reading your G's as Y's. Keep saying Mary.
Oh, damn it. Do I gotta go back?
No,
No,
you're good.
girl.
You're good.
Really discussed me misnaming everybody from
I
the
know,
book we
I
read,
know,
and we left
but-
it in there.
Also, this book does give like Mary vibes, just in the
Part of it is I have it written down Marge, and then I keep trying to bring it out to Margaret, so I'm not just calling her my girl Margie.
yeah.
time.
I'm like, she's reading the G as a Y. That's why it keeps happening. But yeah, it's like Mary, Margaret. It's okay. It's
You're
okay.
fine. You only did it a couple times.
Yeah, it was just that last little section. From the bathroom to the basement.
Okay. Margaret sits in the hallway, surrounded by all 6 of the ghost children and Frederica. And she sits there and she says, Catherine can't see you. And Catherine can't see you. And she can't see you. Not you either, kid with no legs. Not you either, girl with the eyeball dripping out. Nope, can't see you. Catherine is having a breakdown on the phone in the other room. A really understandable breakdown because her mom appears to
Entirely
be
lost it.
having a break from reality and seems to have committed some type
Also-
of self-harm.
Side note, it was only mentioned once, but like repeatedly throughout the entire book, Catherine will go into the kitchen and there's just a pot of water on the stove and the stove is going, and Margaret canonically has just a big like fire safety where like if the stove's on, you need to be in the kitchen with the stove. So that's another like thing that Catherine's been
I
clocking
wasn't
this
sure how
entire
to
time.
keep adding that because it's such like little one-off things. that-
Yeah, which usually I'll just say like side note, that's going to keep happening. But yeah, that's another sort of red flag for Catherine that something is incredibly wrong with Margaret, is that she allegedly just keeps leaving the stove on like constantly.
And it's Frederica making tea, but like also being so scattered by the month of September that she does not finish the task. She's just
Yeah.
leaving the oven on over and over again.
Yeah.
Or the stove.
Yep.
Catherine is locked in the bedroom having a breakdown. She calls her ex-girlfriend Claire, who doesn't really want to talk to her, so she can speak with her ex-girlfriend's current girlfriend, who is a therapist. And I don't have it written down, but just the fact she's like, how do you know that? She's like, I follow you on Instagram still.
Well, yeah. Also, like, how great of this lady, because she does like, she goes on to talk to Catherine and like kind of explain how to test for dementia, but it's like how nice, like, because your toxic ex calls you and is like, I really need to speak with your partner.
Oh, so it's the Santa Claus.
Yeah.
You said the Santa Claus?
Yeah, Tim Allen's ex-wife's new partner is
Therapist.
a therapist, and he's like genuinely a good guy, but because he's the new man in her life, he's the enemy.
It's crazy. It's a wild
Well,
word.
but-
She's actually really helpful.
She's,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what I mean. Like, and that's so nice because she must have just heard some like not so great
Or-
stories about Catherine.
Or Liar as well. That's another one where it's like, Carrie Elways is not a bad guy.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey's just a bad dad.
Yeah.
It's not like Carrie Elways has alternative motives or anything. Just, hey, you're the new guy, and he's still in love with her and stuff. They have a child.
Not the child.
Child.
Catherine is calling because she desperately needs help with her mom. Something is wrong with Margaret. She knows her grandfather was unwell and spent his life in and out of psychiatric hospitals, but she doesn't know much because Mary doesn't talk about things like that. Who would have thought? She tearfully divulges that Margaret has called her the wrong name. I've also called Margaret the wrong name myself.
Who is she?
Who is she?
Identifies with Mary now.
Margaret glances away like she's seeing things in the corners of the room, and the wounds are on her arms that don't have a really good explanation. Catherine thought her dad was leaving was a good thing, but she knows her mom needed him somehow in her codependent kind of way. Catherine asks what to do if her mom is crazy. When will she have to take action? What if her mom doesn't want to go? Can she make her go? Margaret talks to Frederica and tells her that her daughter thinks she's crazy. Frederica, the Victorian ghost woman whose head has been split open, reassures her that she is not crazy.
Nice. That's all the reassurance I
needed.
needed.
Friends sometimes.
Yeah.
Margaret asks, "Do you think anyone deserves to live like this?" Frederica responds, "We all deserve more than we are given, so much more." Mary and Frederica hold hands, and even though the physical contact forces Margaret to see the whole scene of Frederica's death, complete with axe, and gives her a nosebleed, Margaret feels that the comfort of holding hands is worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Margaret monologues to us. She tells us about one rule she set with Hal. No matter the situation with Hal and her, Catherine was to be spared. And for most of their lives, Hal seems to understand this. Until one day, when Catherine is 16, and he doesn't. Margaret is coming home from the grocery store, where she followed all the rules, including only using female cashiers, texting when she got there, telling Hal a day in advance she was going, texting 3 times from the store, and then texting as she was returning. She pulls in the driveway to hear yelling, and she braces because she assumes that she's broken the rules. She enters to find Catherine's bedroom door open and runs down the hall. The rule Catherine broke was being dropped off by a male friend after school. Catherine is cowering in the corner, and Hal's tirade has been going on for a while based on the situation. This is something that was usually reserved for Margaret, but not Cat. Hal screams, "I will not have any daughter of mine driving through town like some goddamn whore!" And Cat tries to argue back, because she doesn't know the rules. Hal screams, "You're fucking him, aren't you?" Catherine is confused for several reasons. Hal hears that stammer as a challenge. Hal lunges at Cat with his fist raised, and Margaret football tackles him down to the floor, pinning him down with her body. Margaret looks Cat in the eye and tells her to run. Get out. Go next door. Now. And Cat runs. Hal throws Margaret off and gets to his feet. Fiercely, Margaret declares, "You do not treat our daughter like that." Margaret decides she isn't going down without a fight. "If I ever catch you treating Catherine like that again, I will take her away from you. I don't care if you kill me, but you will never see her again. Do you understand me?" Hal hits her so hard, she falls to the ground, unable to see out of her left eye, and is so dizzy she has to crawl to her purse and get her phone. She calls her sister from memory. Noelle answers and hears the slur of Mary's voice, and Noelle wants to call the police and an ambulance. Margaret tells Noelle she needs to come take Cat now, and Noelle says she will be right over. Margaret hangs up and notices her blood on the phone and the carpet. Margaret decides to lay on the carpet for a while longer to celebrate her victory. Looks so dark. Oh,
I know that was like kind of the roughest scene.
That is.
But
that
also,
is,
we stand a queen that will remove her daughter from the home just to keep her safe.
Yeah.
Yes.
And getting, what's that song that I love called? Labor?
Yeah, labor.
It's giving labor.
Neighbor.
What a sentence. It's giving labor.
All right. When Margaret is finished on the phone, she gives her mom a cognitive test that presumably she has gotten from her ex-girlfriend's current girlfriend, the therapist. Also, this is actually a fairly accurate and medical cognitive test that she gives her.
It seems yeah.
She reads directly from the notes that There's no wrong way to answer these questions, and nothing bad will happen. But that seems untrue to Margaret.
I mean, it seems untrue to me, honestly, when I answer those fucking things.
The first question, the day of the week. Margaret says Tuesday, and a very worried Catherine corrects her that today's Friday. The second question, today's date. Margaret answers the 17th, and is shocked to find out that it is the 25th. The third question, where are you now? Margaret answers the address in the Old Vale house, which also confuses Catherine because she doesn't know any of the house's backstory. Suddenly, mid-conversation, the ghost children begin to crowd Margaret, whispering, "He's down there." The fourth request, count backwards from 50 by 5. And Margaret really tries her damnedest as Julian the ghost crawls on all fours on the table in front of her, between her and Catherine. His intestines are like threatening to drip on her, and she's trying really hard not to react to that. The fifth request, Catherine names 3 things, and Margaret should repeat them back. Catherine looks her in the eye, but when she speaks, all Margaret can hear is, "He's down there." The ghost girl Angelica climbs onto the back of Margaret's chair and threatens to touch her with her hair as it falls down. And Margaret doesn't think that experiencing Angelica's death while she's having this conversation is going to make Catherine believe that she's sane.
Yeah.
The sixth request. Catherine hands her a piece of paper and asks her to do what the written instructions say. Margaret looks at the piece of paper and sees, "He's down there," written on the paper in Catherine's handwriting. Catherine tells her that it says, "Raise your hand." Margaret does it, but has to avoid the mass of ghost bodies surrounding her and the ghost guts spilling onto the kitchen table. Catherine tallies up the cognitive score and tells her it's not good. She asks Margaret if she's been forgetting things. Margaret answers her through a crowd of ghost bodies. She can't see her behind the ghost covering the table. She asks Margaret if she's seeing things that aren't there. Margaret tells her no, and Catherine calls bullshit. Catherine asks who she was talking about when Elias bit Margaret earlier. Margaret confidently tells her, "All the things I see are really there," as Catherine tells her her behavior has been so strange. She tells her mom that her score on the cognitive test is not good. She cries to her mom that their relationship hasn't been the best. She tells Margaret that she's worried. I think I need to get you some help." Margaret says not to be silly. Catherine says, "I think I have to take you to a hospital." Margaret says she isn't sick. Catherine tells her, "Considering your family history, your dad, well, I think it's time for you to go to the hospital." Margaret tells her, "I'm fine. Your grandfather's problems have nothing to do with me." With certainty, Catherine tells her that we are going to the hospital now. Margaret confidently declares, "Catherine, I am not going to the hospital," and stands up to demonstrate how strongly she feels this point. Right into the hanging eyeball of a ghost child, and freaks out and bursts through the ghostly crowd. As she bursts through the crowd, she makes physical contact with all of the ghosts and simultaneously experiences the moment of each of their deaths. Then she falls to the floor and begins to vomit flies. And Catherine screams, "Hospital! Fucking hospital now! Hospital now!" And Margaret tries to reassure her that she can understand why she's upset.
This is fine. Everything's
Did you
fine.
see the flies? Like
Yes,
the flies are real. Now
The flies are real, and
We
every
vomit
instance
flies
of the
in this house.
flies are
Yeah.
visible. When the police come earlier, they also note that there's a lot of flies.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Yeah, that's from Father Cyrus vomiting the flies," but she doesn't say that out loud because she,
Yeah.
at that point, at least knows that is not acceptable behavior.
Not suspicious at all, though.
Okay, maybe the ghosties are real. I'm slowly being convinced.
Margaret tries to reassure her that she can understand why she's so upset. Catherine screams, "How do you think you have a choice in this? This is not your fucking decision. Do not fucking test me on this." From the floor, Margaret raises her hand and she says, "Hal?" before she realizes, and Catherine responds like she's been slapped. And then Catherine's phone rings and she answers. The police officers found something, and Catherine leaves to go to the police station. After Catherine leaves, Margaret cleans up. She decides the best way to get Catherine to think she is sane is to dig up the bones of Elias's mother. She digs up the bones, puts them in a garbage bag, and gets covered in dirt in the process. As she enters the house, the ghost children line up to point at the basement. The basement door begins to bang with an awful smell, and Margaret pins the door closed with a chair. She can hear soft footsteps on the stairs. As she holds the door closed with her body, the doorknob starts to turn. She pins that chair against the doorknob to hold it shut. Frederica has tried to hang up the family portraits, but she does that where there is not a wall, so she drops them on the ground and there smashes and it gets glass everywhere, and also wanders away with the bag of bones. She just sort of helpfully wanders off. Because Frederica's a little Martha Stewart.
Yeah.
She's like very useful for like 11 months of the year, and in the 12th month, she's just like a Roomba that's bad at detecting where the walls are.
Right, like
she's
a
bouncing.
Absolute menace.
She's really early for the whole Marie Kondo thing.
Yes.
These do not spark joy, so we're gonna get rid of them.
Those family portraits probably don't spark joy.
Certainly not.
Hal definitely doesn't, so...
Yeah.
Hal does not spark joy.
Yeah.
He's like, he didn't... Margaret's too much for him. He didn't deserve her.
You are correct.
My new theory is that she comes from a family of mediums, and that's why she can see.
I like that theory.
My theory was just that she's so chill with them that they're okay with her seeing them, type of thing, you know? Because, again, in, like, ghost media, sometimes it's, like, ghosts can choose who gets to see them. So I was like, she just lets us be us, so she's a safe person.
The realist in me says that she's crazy.
I think that I'm assuming that they have witnessed domestic violence, and because they are victims of violence.
Also that, yeah.
That they don't see her as the
A threat?
opposition, they see her as one of them.
Yeah, that's possible as well.
Oh, and if, her daughter's angry all the time, then I suppose, yeah, why would you reveal yourself?
Mm.
Let's see what else. After Frederica wanders away with the bag of bones very helpfully, Margaret is panicked, and she calls the church for Father Cyrus. The priest who answers said that he died a week ago, and the service was beautiful. And all Margaret can think of is the flies. The priest apologizes and explains that Father Cyrus was senile before his death and very fixated on the paranormal.
Oh.
He makes sure that Margaret knows that the church disapproves of his little exorcisms. Margaret asks Frederica what she should do, and Frika tells her to do what she must. There are the sound of car tires in the driveway, and Catherine enters and is confused that Margaret is muddy. There's glass on the floor, and there's a chair barring the basement door. Catherine tells her the police found something. The police talked to the man at the hotel who remembered that Hal got into a cab, and they found the cab driver. The last night anyone saw Hal, when the cab driver dropped him off, he came back to this house. Margaret looks out the door to see the blue and red flashing police lights. What is our current vibe right now on the ghosts?
I think that it's all in her head.
Okay.
And I think he's dead in the basement.
I think so far Margaret has been an unreliable narrator. We've gotten some glimpses of her being abusive or just, taking her emotions out on Catherine. So I think the ghosts are kind of targeting her a little bit as well.
What?
The ghosts are... Wait, what?
I think you got their names swapped around.
That Catherine is being kind of abusive?
Or
Margaret
that...
being abusive. Well, I mean,
You think Margaret's being abusive towards Catherine?
Because Margaret is an unreliable narrator, there's stuff she's not telling us.
Ah, okay.
Okay,
Oh,
so
so
you're
that's-
saying there's things that Margaret is not telling us
So that
about her
Margaret's the
relations with...
abuser.
She's an abuser. Like, she could be taking... she could have been taking Hal's abuse and then transferring it on to Catherine
Got it.
That's a fair
subconsciously.
assumption.
So you're just so shocked at how self-aware Margaret is. You're like, this must be a lie.
Somewhat, but I think just we're kind of jumping around a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not unreliable in a completely intentional sense.
Yeah.
From a writing perspective, sure, but I think just she's convinced herself that anything she has done either didn't happen or was for her or
A good
Catherine's own good. Yeah.
I think that it's interesting that you say that Margaret could be abusive because Catherine tells her about actual things that happened in her life, and Margaret, like, very kind of gaslights her. Like, she's like, no, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I did track that.
Yeah, there's
There's a lot more that, but yeah, no, that kind of fits the narrative though. And obviously I know where everything goes, but I think that that's kind of normal in that Margaret is coping, right? By like, you can get used to things and it's not that bad as long as we have rules. So I think that the gaslighting is more so.
she's gaslit herself. Like,
Yeah.
she believes what she
Yes.
is telling Catherine. Like, she can't view herself as a victim because then she'd have to leave and protect her daughter, or at least historically in the earlier parts before her daughter has left home. So in a way, the dysfunction her acceptance of the dysfunction makes her abusive in a way.
And that's true. I mean, those types of situations are so complex anyways.
There's like 3 for every person has a unique relationship with the other person. And it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
And just the whole cycles of abuse, trying to break the repetition, generational or otherwise.
Yeah.
The house might have attracted her and not Hale, or the both of them.
Okay.
That's interesting. She is the one who sees it, and she tells Hal we're going to look at it, and it seems like it is displayed as kind of assertive on her part to go to the house.
Yeah, and I guess so. When you come from a place of abuse, you tend to be more susceptible of abusers. So we could also potentially argue that the house attracted her because it knew that she was primed for victim making, right?
Yes, I also the history of mental health problems in her household also kind of sets her up for that, because it's implied that her dad has hallucinations.
Yeah.
So there has been at some point in her childhood people who had different versions of what reality
Correct.
was.
Yeah.
So she is more, I think, readily able to accept that.
Mm-hmm.
4 police officers come into their house. Officer Jones, which is the female police officer from earlier. Officer Douglas, who is the male police officer from earlier, the one who was in love with the house. And 2 new police officers, Price and Coop. The police tell her of the new information. Bill at the Value Lodge told them Hal stayed one day and ran a lot of errands. At midnight, Bill saw Hal get into a cab with 2 large containers in his hands. The cab driver said the smell of gas lingered in his cab all night. The cab driver dropped Hal off about a half a mile from the house. The cab driver said it was as if he had dropped him off in the middle of the woods, because the house is so isolated. The police have questions. They asked her to tell them what happened before Hal left. She tells them Hal wanted to leave and he didn't like the house. She doesn't tell them how Hal changed after the time with Master Vale in the basement. He wanted to smash Master Vale into submission. He tells her that the things who live here are dangerous. He wanted to burn the house down, and Margaret tells him no, this is her home. Margaret tells the police that Hal was so used to her going along with things. He didn't like that she wasn't. She doesn't say that Hal told her he was going to burn the house down. She tells them that Hal seemed sad and not angry when he left. Officer Price removes the chair from the basement door. Margaret whispers that it isn't safe, but he heads down anyway. Margaret tells the police officer she never heard from Hal after he left. But she tells us, the readers, something different. The first night was quiet. It felt really right as she laid in bed by herself peacefully. After midnight, she hears Hal's footsteps downstairs. She hears his steps approach the stairs coming up to the bedroom. He waits a moment like he's contemplating, but walks away. She hears the splashes of gasoline. She hears him grab the crowbar and remove the bars from the basement door, and the slosh of the gas can as he heads down into the basement. She knows that Hal won't come get her before setting the fire. She wonders what will happen to the ghosts. She wonders if after the fire she'll join them too. And peacefully she falls asleep.
Damn.
Yeah.
Like the number of times as I was taking my notes, this book punched me.
That's deep as shit.
I'm just like on my lunch break at work, like I've been punched.
Yeah, it's really giving Welcome Home, Eleanor, like vibes.
Oh, yeah.
The next morning, she wakes up and she comes downstairs to the stink of gasoline in the house. The basement door is closed and is now cracked down the middle from the force that closed it. The house seems to glow with sunlight. "Ah," she said to the basement door. "So that's how you feel about that." I love this character.
I know.
She's not great, but
No.
she's the best.
She's like flawed, but awesome anyways.
She's flawed, but consistent and dynamic
Yeah.
and strong, and
She's doing her best.
Officer Pierce comes upstairs from the basement. He points like one of the ghost children at the basement door and said, "He's down there." Catherine is destroyed. She's destroyed to know the father she's been searching for has been downstairs the whole time. She bends over and screams in grief and anger. Officer Jones pulls out handcuffs, and Officer McDouglas tells Officer Jones that they need to call in homicide. Margaret explains while the cops advise against that. Everything you say, court of law, blah, blah, blah. This wasn't her. Master Vale did this. She tries to explain. Who is Master Vale? In the 1800s. The pranksters? Margaret explains. Things live in this house. Margaret hisses for her to stop talking.
Yeah.
She tries to explain Elias and that he bites. She shows the wounds on her arms that have started bleeding from all the exertion of digging up a dead body. Catherine suggests self-harm. Catherine explains that her mom is seeing things. Margaret says Hal saw them, but he didn't follow the rules. Catherine explains the cognitive test and how her score was very bad. Margaret explains her rules, including calling over Father Cyrus. The officers look at her with pity. They had been called to find him when he went wandering. He would break into homes and do exorcisms. Margaret explains the exorcism with the flies, and the officers tell her that the flies are from the dead body. Margaret pleads with Catherine. "You haven't seen any of the ghosts? Did you see the blood? Any of the blood? The screaming?" Catherine tells her no to all of this, and Marge explains the sleeping pills might be why, and Catherine does not love learning that Margaret has been drugging her.
As one does.
The amount of incriminating shit that she's just
I
admitting to right now.
know.
This entire sequence of hers, like, I need them to know I'm sane by
Being
insert thing
insane.
that is not.
Yeah.
Margaret explains that the bones of Elias's mom are in the house, and the suggestion of a body in a garbage bag makes the cops all touch their guns at the same time.
Yeah.
Catherine asks if she's muddy because she was digging up a body. None of the cops have seen the garbage bag. Margaret says Frederica does this and opens the kitchen cabinets to show that the cabinets are full of dirt piles and clothing and other strange debris from around the house that definitely doesn't belong in a kitchen cabinet. None of this is making the cops or Catherine think that she is either sane or innocent. Suddenly, Margaret has an idea. She thinks of her neighbor friend, Edie, and they look at her and tell her she doesn't have any neighbors. There's no neighbors in 10 miles. Where would she be walking from? Catherine tells her she hasn't seen Edie, and Margaret disagrees. Edie has waved at Catherine multiple times, but Catherine tells her she was alone. When she saw her on the porch, she thought it was strange and kind of sad. That can't be true. Edie's her only friend, and in such a long time. Margaret freaks the cops out by walking to the kitchen door, and they all touch their guns again. Through the window, Margaret sees Edie. She points to Edie through the window to show them, and they ask her what she's seeing. And then Edie is suddenly in the house. Margaret begs her to explain to them what's in the house. Edie apologizes, and Margaret learns that she was the owner of the house in the 90s. Margaret holds her hand and experiences the last moments with the sleeping pills in the master bedroom. Margaret's nose bleeds from the contact. With kindness, the female officer Jones tells her no one else saw Edie. Catherine tells them about her behavior and about the family history. Jones has been worried about her the first time she was here. Catherine had told them how she would self-isolate, that she'd get paranoid, that she'd find messages in graffiti and songs and names of other people out in the world, that she found messages in that. They know from Catherine about Hal's abuse. They ask, was Hal asking you to leave to a hospital? Did you put up with his shit for years and he dips at your mental illness? Margaret remembers his father, the way he would go take vacations as her mom came back and come back medicated with hands that shook from the mood stabilizers. Sometimes, says Officer Jones, when people do bad things, they don't remember. Margaret asks if what happened to Hal, does it look like a human being could have done it? Margaret and the police officer go back and forth. People who see things, do they kill people? Not usually. Do they hurt themselves? Sometimes. Do people who see things, do their houses look like this? Yes. Joan says they need to go to the police station. Let them help her. She can go to a facility where they help people like her. And Margaret agrees. Joan heads outside to call the station. Officer Coop handcuffs Margaret, and Margaret worries about Catherine and all of this, and how heavy this is going to be on her. As they are leaving, Margaret tells Catherine she doesn't know what to do. And Catherine tells her Frederica's catchphrase, needs must when the devil drives. And suddenly, the house begins to moan, and everyone hears it. Officer Jones begins to walk back to the house, but the front door slams closed and refuses to open. A torrent of blood runs down the walls, and Catherine screams.
It's really haunted?
Jessy is shooketh.
I'm excited, because I was getting real sad.
Thuds come from the outside of the house as birds begin to attack their house, slamming their bodies against the wall. Jones is still trapped outside, banging against the door. The moans sound angry now.
Like, give our girl back.
Right.
Ghost girl Angelica enters the kitchen, and the cops draw on her. All the mutilated ghost children appear, now fully visible to everyone now. The moans become a painful scream, and the birds continue their assault on the house. And suddenly the scream hits a peak where it's almost laughter, and then everything goes silent. Everything, including the birds, stop, and there is a bad silence. Price yells as an invisible force does something awful to his body. All his bones fold in upon themselves and break. Margaret does a soccer mom save in front of Catherine, as if she can stop this. Price dies. There's more description, but
Yeah.
They did.
And then the same happens to Officer Coop. McDouglas, the police officer from earlier who was in love with the house, gets in her face with his gun and tells Margaret to stop this. Margaret knows that the house, like hell, doesn't want her to leave. McDouglas tells her to stop it or he will shoot her, and places the gun to Margaret's head. He counts to 3, and at the count of 3, as he begins to pull the trigger, the invisible force snaps his chest in half. All of his limbs fold the wrong way, faster than it had for the other 2 officers. After a while, all 3 bodies are still on the floor. There is silence, and kind Officer Jones enters the house, looking like she was attacked by birds in a flurry of feathers.
It's exciting.
Officer Jones runs to the kitchen and then stops and stares at Catherine. Master Vale is behind her. He grins and puts a hand on Catherine's shoulder. Master Vale smiles. Margaret screams no as Master Vale pulls Catherine down into the basement.
Damn. Yeah, you can have her.
The flip.
I know. I remember just being like, oh my god, is this where it's going? And like, I wasn't necessarily mad per se, but I was like, I really wanted it to be a ghost story though.
It is a ghost story.
I know.
I was solely prepared with the real, and now I'm really gonna read it.
There's like the copy of the book that I have, which is somewhere here. It has a interview with the author, and she talks about like how many times she rewrote the ending, because the ending where Margaret has gone through all these things and it's just delusional. It's such a bad ending.
Yeah.
I could see it being the ending, but the kind of ending messaging on that, like you would hope if that ends like that, then she isn't a dynamic character.
Yeah.
No,
And she starts just as delusional as she is, so while she is a well-crafted character, she doesn't have an arc.
Yeah.
And like, I think it takes it from like, so many stories have done this to like, oh, okay, this is unique, let's go.
Yeah.
And like, you hit that moment where it's like, and then the house, and you're like, let's go!
I was like, okay, if it was gonna end there, I'm like, okay, it's a good book. But now I'm like, that's a great book.
I know, it like really levels things up.
Yeah.
Margaret sprints to the basement as Officer Jones is thrown against the ceiling and begins to vomit flies, just kind of up there on the ceiling. The door fights her hard, but she wins. She screams at Vale to get his hands off her daughter. The scent of death is overpowering in the basement, and time flickers between the past and present. Master Vale has Catherine in his awful little workshop in the basement and has pinned her on the table with his body. Margaret tackles him off, and Catherine pushes herself away, directly into Hal's broken body. She screams. Margaret tells her to run and punches Vale in the face. Margaret grabs Catherine and pulls her towards the stairs, tells her to go. Margaret turns to face Master Vale. She hears Hal, Edie, Catherine, and everyone else in her mind tell her no one deserves to live like this. And for the first time, she thinks it herself. She played by his rules, and now he better listen to her. That SOB broke the rules. Get the fuck out of my house, she screams, standing her ground. Master Vale jumps at her, and she dodges multiple times as she lets him know he isn't in charge anymore.
Damn straight queen.
Right. She screams, get out! But he catches her and he begins to choke her. At his touch, she experiences all of it. She feels the joy, happiness, and hunger at the death of his family. She feels his hunger rise each September in the awful way he kills the children and eats them to sate his hunger. She feels the hunger as he dies alone, of that hunger surrounded by meat. She sees the cycle repeat with Elias, Edie, Jasper, and Blythe. She sees him whisper to Hal, alone in his office. She stops breathing, and as she does, she sees the cycles of violence. She sees her own awful cycles of violence with Hal. She cannot abide being part of the cycle of Septembers if she dies here. Catherine appears and hits Master Vale over the head with the paddle and rips him off her. She hits him over and over again. If he ever touches her mother again, she will kill him. Master Vale catches the paddle in his hand and breaks it over his knee. He rises and backs the two women against the wall as he laughs. Margaret puts herself in front of Kat, and he roars towards them. But he's pushed aside. Frederica appears. Ma'am asked you to leave. Edie appears. She means business. He swings at her, but Elias appears and attacks him with all of his teeth. And Margaret feels hope. Margaret tells him to get out, and Edie and Kat join her chorus. Vale begins to retreat up the stairs. The ghost children appear and each act out their injuries upon him, and they join the chorus of Get Out as Master Vale drags his broken body up the stairs. As he exits the basement, Officer Jones is still vomiting flies, yet still manages to join the chant of Get Out. Specifically, I think she out some flies, and the mental image that gave me was both great and awful.
Great and terrible.
The things the children do to Vale are awful, but as Margaret notes, not even the most awful thing she's seen today. The pranksters point at the door and tell Master Vale to get out, and he drags himself outside into the sunshine. He looks broken and fragile in the sunlight. Margaret towers over him. Frederica hands her an axe, and Margaret recreates Frederica's head wound on Master Vale. And it is over. The birds begin to chirp, and it is a beautiful day. The pranksters walk across the lawn with bodies that are now whole. They're curious about this new world. Officer Vale leaves the house. Her and Margaret agree that the house is a little haunted. But Margaret thinks it is fixed now. Officer Jones tells she's going to call everyone. Homicide, the church, the police psychic. Questions will need to be answered, but right now, the children are doing cartwheels and making flower crowns. Catherine tells Margaret she will reschedule her flight. Elias is taking a walk with his mom. Edie tells Catherine that she's so proud of her mom. Margaret and Kat sit on the porch and talk. So Hal is dead. Sorry about trying to have you committed. Margaret says she would have done the same. Margaret makes a new rule, the only rule. No matter how terrible, things will always be fine in the end. And Frederica makes them tea. The end.
That was so good.
Yeah.
I'm happy it turned out to be real.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how does someone explain that? Like,
I don't think there's a way to get to a hopeful ending.
Yeah.
It's not real.
Correct. Yeah.
No,
I absolutely agree with that.
I think it's very cinematic for, like, shit to go down the way that it
Yes.
did. Like, there's a gut-wrenching ending where, you know, shit goes down, but you find out it was all in her head, or mostly in her head, if you want to go a different direction with it. But it was
Full
very
of Twilight.
cinematic for it like that to be the climax.
It's just all like that was gut wrenching to read. I was like, no, don't do this to my girl Margie.
don't
And I'm like, yeah, get it, girl, get it.
Let's go.
Let's go. Punch him.
Yes. Yeah, I loved when Frederica is like, ma'am told you to leave.
Yeah.
Ma'am told
you
you
to
to leave. Hope you enjoyed my voice acting. It
Yes.
felt cringe in the
Great.
moment.
You really did a whole thing.
Committed.
You're welcome.
I love it.
My inner theater kid has been waiting for this moment.
Good, I'm glad.
Good. It could have more moments. Come back.
I know. You were so excited when I'm like, okay, come on and talk about it.
Come and
I
talk
could've
about
come
it.
and been like, I sit and then they do. I guess I could have done that.
You could have, but this is better for sure.
There were times where you got really quiet and I was checking over at the levels, but like it all corresponded with very emotional
Yeah.
moments or even like solemn moments, and I think it's gonna be fine in the end because it balances out with some of the more action-packed
Me
or
yelling?
intense. Yeah,
Me just being like, I hope I don't like fuck this up because this is so close.
there was a couple times you did it, and then Nick looked over at the computer.
And I kind of saw that, and I was like, nope, we cannot stop. The show has begun.
The show must go on.
Show must go on, even if I break the audio.
yeah. I'm still working my way through audio stuff, but I think we're probably good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm obsessed with this book.
Yes.
No.
I
You
love
read
this
it now?
book. Yes.
I must read it now.
Wanna borrow? I happen to have a handy copy right here.
Oh, I'm gonna get it on my Kindle. My Nook. My Nook.
There's discussion questions, which feels very
Yeah.
college lit.
I love that. I love a good interview in the back of the book.
I know. She's like, the ending of the book is like,
Yeah, because there's a bunch of different ways it could have gone
Actually, I would have
down.
been like, okay, yeah, commit her. Okay, but cliffhanger ending. The daughter's now seeing the haunt after her mother got
Yeah,
committed.
and I listened to a podcast recently who just did this, and they were saying that they almost wished that she was institutionalized, and then as Catherine is trying to get the affairs in order at the house, she's like, oh shit, no, this is actually haunted.
Happening, yeah.
I think that the house is a metaphor for like living with the abuse and dysfunction. Kat's already chosen to leave, so
Yeah.
it wouldn't act as a catalyst for her the way it does for Margaret. So it would not be as emotionally strong if that were to happen. Catherine would be like, no, I'm totally cool leaving. Like, I'll leave right now.
Yeah.
I love leaving. Let's go.
Yeah, I will say, I do think the house attracts abusers because that cop.
Yeah, because the one who holds the gun to her head.
Yeah.
As if,
He's got no problem doing that.
yeah, like he's like, and he gets it. And
Yeah.
he deserve it. Because the house also seems, the force at the end that takes out the cops, is that Vale or is that the kids?
Yeah, that's so fair. Well, yeah, in my opinion, the house was trying to prevent her from being taken from them. Because generally speaking, I think that it is a little bit of like, yes, they identify with like sort of you've gone through something traumatic, but also you let us be us, and it is, we get to actually interact with someone new for like the first time in 100 years.
That's true. They only have each other.
Yeah, but also like you just let things happen, and so we like you, and
Yeah, she accepted the house for what it was.
yeah.
She actually doesn't. She should. She should be like, house, don't be like this.
Yeah.
But she lets it go.
She's like,
too
no,
much.
you know what? It's okay.
He's like, it's fine. You're just a little baby. You're just me little guy.
Yeah.
Big Chihuahua energy.
Yes. We love a Chihuahua energy.
So is Vale a ghost or is he
Yeah.
like a demonic creature? Because she asked him.
That's a really good question. I don't. It is both implied, and then when her and Hal are in the basement, when they go down there with the paddle to fight Master Vale, she does see him either drink Angelica's blood or like eat her brains.
Yeah. He
that-
do be consuming.
Yeah, like I think there's like a deal with something he made that's keeping him around.
When did this book come out?
I feel like it's newer.
Because I would love to see this as a movie.
Yeah.
It would make this a great movie.
I know it's definitely big in the like TikTok horror circles, so
2023. So this is this is a very recent book. I think that the force at the end, my opinion, is actually the kids.
Yeah.
I think Master Vale feels possessive of her the way Hal does,
yes.
but the kids are protecting her. Like, they're using their power to protect her from the cop who was going to shoot her in the head.
Yeah, because on one hand, kids don't have the discernment to, like, know the context of situations. But she's also, like, the fun teacher that lets them have extra long recess. So they're just like...
Favorite teacher?
Yeah.
They're like, she doesn't even scream. She's just like, I'm not Nancy Drew. I'm not doing this right now. But first, coffee.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no, I would definitely say probably the kids protected.
Yeah, I think that's the kids.
Well, especially because the wail from the house, right? And, what's his, Julius? Julian, there you go. I was like, Julius is not right. But Julian, they, like, describe it as, like, jet engine.
Oh, Elias is the jet engine.
Elias, okay. Somebody be a jet engine up in there. So with, like, the house just aggressively starting to wail, I feel like...
They don't want her... It starts to wail when she's going to leave.
Yeah.
And there's that possessive, almost the way that Mirror's hell not wanting her to leave, and the flies. I think those are real. The officer at the end who's on the ceiling, who I don't include it in my notes, but falls as soon as Bale is dead.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Where she's like, ow. I was pinned to a ceiling for a while, and then I fell.
Yeah.
The ceiling.
You know what, that would check out, especially because the priest, as he was about to go down into the basement to do an exorcism, he did the pukey.
Yeah, that was the only indication that things are real to me, is everyone was seeing the flies.
Yeah. Well, but the argument could also be made that the flies were there because of Hal, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
which is why I was
the
like,
puking
okay, yeah,
up the flies is a little different,
but
committed. And isn't Catherine like, you were eating flies?
Yes, she's like, are you eating flies? And then
It's protein.
they comment on the flies, the police officers, and she's like, I think she might have been eating the flies.
Yeah. I mean, what else are you supposed to think? But that's so
Also, I don't
crazy.
think- Okay, scientifically, which we're applying to fiction where ghosts are real, so, like, no.
Yeah.
But I don't think flies would survive in your
Correct.
stomach. Like, I
Also
don't...
that.
No,
wouldn't
not
just
the acid, no.
That's
fly
just
away.
protein. That's just protein.
Yeah.
Gross protein.
She didn't eat them. They just flew down her throat.
I can't help but think of comparisons to Casper.
Okay.
I
Haunted
don't know
house.
where we're going, but let's go.
Haunted house, obviously.
Uh-huh.
Owned by, I mean, just two people, like a father-daughter,
Uh-huh.
husband and wife, who have been through something traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
One of them still is. The daughter's named Kat.
Okay. Very important.
There is a scene where they try to bring someone in to cleanse the house, and it goes poorly.
I was thinking, you better call someone else.
Yep. The house is very evil, get out, we don't want you here, and at some point, hey, you're actually cool.
Yeah.
Like, you can stick around. There's a little boy ghost.
There are multiple little boy ghosts.
I was thinking mainly Elias, but yeah. The arguably main antagonist for September House is like the owner of the home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Master Bale kind of feeling like it's his home, it's his place versus the woman whose name I'm blanking on in Casper.
Yeah.
She's the main antagonist.
Okay, yeah.
Who gets defeated in the end.
Yeah.
And it ends with a musical number.
Mm-hmm.
I do not remember enough about Casper to confirm or deny
Me
it.
either.
Oh,
Is this something you watch often?
No, but we've definitely watched it in the past few years, like around like Halloween time.
Yeah, it was a staple back in the VHS days for me.
I mean, yes, it was definitely one of a fave for me too. But I know we've watched it at least twice since we've been together.
I think I even liked Casper's Spirited Beginning and Casper Meets Wendy.
There's
Casper
more
Meets
than
Wendy.
one?
Casper Meets Wendy is like chef's kiss, honestly. I love Casper Meets Wendy.
Young Hilary Duff.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know about the Casper world.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've been spooky since the womb, basically. So
Here I'm like, I don't even remember Casper. I feel like I've seen it once, and then I've never seen The
It's a good one.
Exorcist.
It's a good watch.
I remember being very confused because I'm pretty sure Wendy's aunts are Shelley Duvall and Kathy Moriarty. Kathy Moriarty was the villain from the first one,
Okay.
and it was a little ADHD autistic boy. I'm like, that is the woman from the first one. She's evil. She's mean. And it turns out she's not. No, she's playing a completely different character.
It's crazy though. The cast is like,
Way to confuse the children, though.
yeah.
Right.
You're like, excuse me, you're not following
Well,
the
okay.
rules.
Yeah, there are rules.
It was
There are
1998.
Casper Universe rules.
It was 1998. They weren't exactly thinking about the autistic children at the time.
No, of course not. Because they didn't exist back then, don't you know?
Don't you know?
Pauly Shore. Anyways. Title
It's
for
like
the
a weird
episode.
stim for you now. Polly Shore!
Title for the episode.
Yes. Absolutely.
I'm
Polly
so upset if
Shore,
I come on here and
September
you
House.
guys name the episode I'm on Polly Shore.
Oh my god.
I'm so
Yeah.
upset.
I'll send you the title pitch list and you
Yeah.
Any more comments, concerns?
Not Polly Shore.
Yeah.
Like there was a September House. It could have been October House because spooky, and they said no, September.
I know.
That is interesting. They could have done any month except.
It would add another layer of misdirect because all the spooky things could be happening because it's October. It could be pranksters. It could be Margaret just having a spooky vibe, having a laugh, playing tricks and
I think
Getting no
layering
treats.
October over
Well, I think if they had
would
done
make
this,
it less good.
Yeah, I agree. Like, take a little camp, almost.
And it's already pretty camp. Like, to
Especially
be
in-
very honest, like, there will be a very serious moment broken by just absurdity. And a very
Yes.
serious moment broken by just very dark humor.
And that's why it's so good, is because it kind of pulls you through, like, different emotions, and it's able to, like, break the tension and stuff, too.
I like stuff like that because I can't be serious all the time or else I will break.
Like,
I'm
just her
already
being
too
like,
serious with myself.
the saddest moment for me is her realizing her friend Edie isn't alive.
Yes. But, like, also, that's okay, right? Because
I
she's still your friend. Just because she's dead, it doesn't make
We
her
don't
any less
discriminate.
your friend.
It was only sad when I thought she was going to be crazy. That was
Yeah.
the only time. Okay, I'm gonna reel that back. Not crazy, but mentally unwell.
Right.
I don't want to use the term for crazy for that.
Sure.
But
I do.
that was when it would have hurt because I clocked immediately. I'm like, where the fuck you have a friend in the middle of bumfuck nowhere in Indiana?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Like I
So
said,
I
I
knew
didn't.
ghost, but I'm just like, if she had in fact was mentally unwell, I would have been like,
I did kind of mentally picture the house from Beetlejuice. Not like kind of the style, but more so just it
Okay.
having nothing around it, like not having direct neighbors.
I mean, it would be
Yeah.
a similar style, though, too.
I think
Because that's a Victorian house.
it is described as specifically Victorian, and obviously there's the house on the cover.
Yeah, I think the just Beetlejuice house. Maybe I'm being overly specific, not looking as iconic as it is, but just something like an older model you do not see anymore,
Yeah.
unless it's built by
Older
someone.
model.
It should
Side
be
note.
on a hill, very Victorian, and there should always be like lightning behind it very
Yeah.
dramatically.
And that makes it even more harrowing to, like, haul those bones if she's going up a
I
hill.
know. We're
But-
going up a hill. We're digging up. Like, I get why she got to. She's like, first I tried to do an urn,
Right.
then I tried to do a sterilite bin, and then we just ended up. She's like, slowly over time there were changes, and they mirror.
Although surely the Rubbermaid would be... Like, a Rubbermaid would be easier to carry than a trash bag.
What
Why
a
she keep taking
backpack.
it out and burying it? At what point do you just say, I'm gonna
Keep
put
it
an
in the
urn?
shed.
Put an urn on the fireplace.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's
you
a
know what?
thing
That's so
people
right.
do. That's more
like-
normal.
and like, I don't know if I felt like it was respectful to rebury the bones. I think I would do that.
But I think I would leave it in the Rubbermaid.
Happening over here.
I would buy, like, a really nice crate, and that's easy to carry, and that's just... I would just leave her in there and just bury and unbury.
How heavy would bones be?
Also that.
Like, I assume they're fairly heavy if you're an adult person. Like,
See, I would not assume that they're
are you
especially
using
heavy.
the magical rectangle to find out for us how heavy a human skeleton
Because I feel like the heavy parts are the moist bits.
Well, I'm
like
thinking
that.
more so, the body is made up of so much water.
Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
what I said. It's the moist bits.
I apologize. I was
I would
thinking.
assume they weigh like 10 pounds.
I think she does say
I was
that
thinking
at
more
a
like
certain
flesh,
point
flesh.
she takes the clothing that's off of them, tries very respectfully to take the clothing off, so she's carrying less.
Yeah.
Because, like, Victorian clothes would probably be pretty heavy.
Oh,
even
yeah.
if they are falling apart.
Many.
22 to 26 pounds. So think of like,
Yeah, it's not nothing, especially if you're like a little bit older,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And, like, she's old enough to, like, Catherine has gone through college and then has also had a career. So I'm going to say she's probably,
60, 70.
yeah, like, I think they describe Margaret graduating from college, getting married, and having a kid in very rapid succession. So she's maybe 25, and I think Catherine's 30, so maybe 55 or 60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're worried about bone health, but it's supposed to be hers and not the body that she's sticking out.
Not the bones of another.
Not the bones of another mother.
Legitimately. Another mother.
oh,
I vote put them in an urn on the fireplace and just be really respectful in the house so we don't have to.
Do all that.
We
Yeah.
don't she'll be closer to her ghost child.
I do feel like for her as the deceased, that would maybe be her preference. But also, before she whisks her son away, maybe ask, like, before you go, what would you like me to do with you?
Yeah, like real quick before you turn to ash. Like,
I would like to amend my answer, and this is why you don't just go with the AI overview. 22 to 26 pounds, but that includes living marrow, water, and blood.
Moist bits.
If you scroll down a little bit,
don't like the moist bit still. Still,
It's
it
just
sounds
more incentive
really
to say it.
squishy.
Well, it is, isn't it?
It gives me the same feeling as when the story where she has to reach into the blood and pulls out the mystery flesh.
Yeah, you never want mystery flesh in your sink, honestly.
No, never.
know your flesh.
Know your flesh.
Know your flesh.
That's the title.
I am so
That's the
fine.
title pitch.
That's
Know
fine.
your flesh.
Oh
Know your
god.
flesh.
Off of Reddit's Today I Learned, using bodyspec.com as their source, dry bones of an average human skeleton weigh 6 to 11 pounds.
Oh, there you go.
said
But she's
10.
still like
I said
older, and she, has.
She's not doing her resistance.
She's taken some damage in her
Ooh.
life. I'm not wrong.
You're not.
Before you think I'm done.
Yeah.
There was something I read, and I was trying not to read reviews where they were like, someone said they didn't like Catherine because they felt like she was gaslighting, and that scene is very heavily like telling Catherine to doubt her reality, but also if you go over to the house of an older relative and that has perhaps taken some damage, and they're like don't know the day or the time or like where they are, perhaps you shouldn't go with maybe ghosts are real. Like that shouldn't be step one. And watching another reviewer be like, she's so awful and she like gaslights her mom, and it's like, if an older relative doesn't know where they are or what day it is, perhaps
Yeah, look at the evidence before the hearsay.
like maybe step one, we still go to the hospital and get checked out. They don't necessarily have to stay, but like maybe a medical professional does a little eye check.
And you're like objectively making really strange choices. Like, my father's been missing a month and you haven't fucking said anything to me. Like that type of thing. It's just like, okay, I need you to.
It's
the
almost
most realistic situation is you're going to be Catherine doing exactly what she's doing.
Yes.
So you cannot say like, oh, she's gaslighting her. Bitch, if it was happening to you,
it's like
you're going to do the same thing.
I love Margaret as a character, but like especially upon the second reading where you're like, this girl ain't right. Like she wasn't right the first read, but then she didn't get more right on the second read. And
Certainly not.
Team Catherine.
Yeah.
Like Team Catherine is making the most logical choices. She's
like them both,
bullying the police to get involved.
I mean, I do like that she's just a bitch that gets shit done, basically. She's like, nope, we're gonna get this done. And there always is like a point where you essentially have to start like parenting your parents, and like not referencing my parents, but very heavily with my grandma, my mom, very much. And I know there were, like, times where my grandma's, like, very clearly, like, having a dizzy spell and, like, decides she needs to, like, carry 17 gallons of milk. I've straight up said to, like, my 7-foot grandma, sit down before I knock you down. Because I'm...
Just fighting giants, like...
She was, like, legitimately over 6 feet tall. If your ass falls, I'm the only one here. I can't pick you up, girlfriend. I'm 5'3". Like, please.
You and your grandma were very different body types, but something you had in common, you fall over really easily.
Oh, just a little tippy. Just a little tippy. Just a
I
little
ask for
teapot.
help getting up. I don't just lay face down on my bedroom floor.
Grandma was an Amazon of a woman.
She sure was. Yeah, I know. And then my mom had to find a short fella. Short king, and now here I am.
No height.
Just a tiny little
Shorter
lady.
people.
You do look up to your family.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was
metaphorically
like-
and physically.
Oof, the dad joke of it all.
Yeah. Well, so for reference, my mom is your height, and she was the shortest person in her family.
I am also the shortest person. I'm like 5'8" feels like a lie, but 5'7" is
5'7"
too
and
short.
3/4 is how tall my mom is. 5'7" and 3/4.
I
Don't
don't know
forget.
what to
I'm the
do
shortest
with
of my
how to
family.
announce my height without sounding like I'm 2 3/4 years old. Like I don't know how to say it without like I'm really
Yeah.
grasping on for that.
I know. But that's why I remember my mom's height. Don't you forget that 3/4.
Don't you forget my 3/4. I'm not 5'7". I was ripped off and I was supposed to be. I theorized 5'10".
I mean,
Because that is technically the height of every other woman in my family.
that's fair. That's fair.
I'm 5'1", unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean,
My mom was 5'3".
I'm taller, or I was taller than my dad's mom, though. So, like, he came from little people.
Little people.
Little folks.
Yeah.
One of the things in the book that I wish they had played around with, or maybe it was cut, that there is Blythe and Jasper, and Jasper kills Blythe and Frederica and attempts to set the house on fire and is crumpled in the closet.
Yes.
He appears there attempting to light a match.
Perpetually.
Perpetually attempting to light a match, and then Blythe, he like burned her in the fireplace, and she will react if a fire is set, and we never really see that. We just see in the context of the rules. But they
Yeah.
could have explored that more,
Yeah.
because that mirrors where Hal was headed, because Margaret thinks he's going to kill her, and she's weirdly fine with that.
So well, yeah, because at a point it's like, set me free, please. But no, I personally thought that the pranksters and Frederica was who took Hal out, because they were like, oh, they're about to kill her, and again, we like her. She takes care of the house. She lets us be us. Like, let's not let this pattern keep repeating. But I mean, obviously, stop the house from being burned down, Master Vale. That makes sense.
I wish that is a very interesting story that mirrors what happens, and I wish it got maybe a little bit more time in the story.
Yeah, that's fair.
But you do create that image of the match, and it does kind of foreshadow that what Hal's trying to do ain't gonna work.
Yeah. Yeah. I do, like, it's sad, but also I get her just being like, I'm just gonna go down with the ship, it's fine.
She's like, I'm gonna hang out with my ghosties.
Yeah. Also, just the stubbornness of it all. Like, I told you I'm not fucking leaving. Like,
But there's like various points where she's just like, they'd have to kill me, they'll have to pry me out with a crowbar, they'll have to
Yes.
take me out in handcuffs, and then they can't.
Quite literally, yeah.
They can't. The birds.
Foreshadowing.
I know. Not the birds.
Birds. That is a scary movie I did see.
The birds.
Yeah, birds. The birds kill
I mean,
everybody.
I
It's
don't
all-
want to be attacked by birds.
I mean, who does, honestly?
There's worse. things to
Imagine
be
the
attacked
birds,
by.
but it's not like regular birds. It's just like an ostrich.
That's
Oh
even
God,
more
that's
scary.
terrifying.
Or like a
They could
cassowary.
literally kill you.
I mean, I'm afraid of a horse, so don't give me a horse-sized bird. That's wild.
I don't know if you've seen a cassowary, but the way they look like the angriest Muppet you've ever seen.
I love that.
Like a dinosaur and a Muppet had a baby, and it's mad. And they sound like death. Like their call. It's just,
That's terrifying.
I'm gonna need you to look up the sound a cassowary makes and just 8-hour loop for sleep, ADHD focus.
Wasn't there one time when we were what?
You're off camera.
Oh,
She's like, I'm disappearing. Goodbye.
sorry, I just got too comfy.
No.
Goddamn. Oh, wasn't there a time when we were camping where there was just like this horrifying scream in the middle of the night? That was like clearly an animal, but it was just like.
I think I was there.
Was
for
it like
that.
a bobcat?
Bobcat.
Bobcats sound like a
it was
woman
like a-
screaming.
That I know.
Are they in
I think
Michigan?
it was like a bird though.
I thought, I mean, I'm not the best at memory, but I seem to remember we at least at one point had a consensus that it could have been a rabbit.
Oh, a rabbit getting got. Yeah.
Because I have heard a rabbit scream because one got caught in our fence and our dog just
Was a dog. Mhm.
yeah, like curious about it, but it literally got stuck in the grates of the fence, and I have to go out there and like cut it out. And hearing like a rabbit scream, you don't think about that kind of thing. You don't even know
No.
what kind of sounds they make on a normal day.
One time, Mooney got a rabbit, and just the blood curdling scream. My mom and I both like hauled ass outside, and Mooney's just standing there, and then she drops it, and it
Yeah.
takes off. She's like, "Hey guys."
The way dogs are like pinnacle predators, but also like goofy little weirdos is just terrifying.
Well, Mooney was such a sweet little derpy girl. She didn't ever want to hurt anything. She just wanted to play with it. So if she picked something up and it passed out, she would either hold onto it and wait for it to wake back up, or she would set it down and stand over it, looking at it, waiting for it to wake back up, and then she would pick it up again because she's like, "This is my friend. I want to play with it."
It does not agree. It does not feel that we are friends.
Right.
Sorry, my hand is my mouth.
I know. I know. And the real like terror and like horrifying thing of that is that Butters didn't like Mooney to have things that she didn't have. So
Oh,
many a
no.
squirrel met its demise to Butters being like, "No, that's mine."
Oh no.
And then it was ripped in half.
We could have stopped the story a little bit sooner.
No.
No.
If I had to know that, so did you.
I don't.
You're welcome.
Give it back. I'm taking. Take it back.
Well, someone's got to get dark-sided, right?
I think we already did. Like,
that's so fair.
we've hit what? There were references to suicide. There was animal death. There was domestic violence. There was alcoholism.
Loss
there
of
was
a child.
the loss of a child. Gaslighting. I feel like this has so many triggers.
Graffiti.
DV.
Graffiti?
Yeah, I feel like we will cut
Yeah,
out all
the poem written on the wall.
Oh.
Cannibalism.
Yeah, cannibalism.
Oh, there is cannibalism. Mental illness, obviously. Vomiting and vomiting bugs.
Yes.
Bug vomiting.
Yeah.
Lesbians.
Lesbian.
Some people are afraid of lesbians.
And shame on them.
The
Yeah,
fact
shame
that
on
there's
them.
that recounting in the story about how Hal is calling her daughter a whore, and you're like, you're fucking him, and all of that. And Margaret does an entire like little tangent where she's like, she hasn't told me, but like, I know.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
And that Hal's not gonna pick up on that because
course
he's
not.
Hal. He's not known for
Yeah.
that.
But like also respect to Margaret for like being a boss ass bitch and just taking that man down. Like absolutely not. Because like oftentimes in those types of scenarios, unfortunately, like the mom is just kind of turns a blind eye because like
It's
what
just
am I gonna do
complacent.
about it type of thing.
Yeah.
So like good for her. She
Continuing
immediately stopped
cycle.
it and got Catherine out into somewhere safe.
She uses her rules like a coping mechanism, so she never kind of hits a sense of helplessness. She
Yeah.
firmly believes that she is helping herself with these rules, and she is helping her daughter, and these rules are messed up, but they're rules,
Yeah.
so they make sense, and
And like
the whole worldview of
if
that.
she came from like a broken home type of scenario, it makes sense why she would want to hang on to like her nuclear family.
Because she's very desperate. That's actually why I included that quote at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because it talks about, like, the thing Margaret wants the most is a stable home. And she is attempting to achieve that by giving up
everything else. Yeah. And like a lot of times in those scenarios, you like hang on to the person, like you're gonna get some prize for like the Pain Olympics type of thing. Like if
Mhm.
I go through this, then I win something at some point.
And it's like, Are you gonna win anything you want?
Yeah, like, but will you though? You know,
like, is pursuing this still a good idea?
it's like you don't always have to stand by your man. You know,
That song's not life advice.
yeah,
You should probably not.
yeah,
Especially in that scenario.
absolutely. But yeah,
Yeah, so that was the September House.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go read it and send us out, Nick.
he's got notes.
You got notes?
There's notes. Let me in.
No, I got a send out.
Oh, send out. Okay.
Oh, okay, let's go.
Do you remember the 21st night of Yaptember? Love was changing the minds of pretenders while yapping the clouds away.
I love you so much. You're such a fucking nerd.
That's great. Oh my god.
Bye.
Bye.